me at the London. If you find time, we can run one. Talk about some things we can undo. You just in the pen, I can find you. 6'1" on the money, 9'2". You just say the word and I run too. 2 texts, no reply, that's when I knew.
Yeah, circumnavigate the globe as the cash grows. Get a nigga whack like you get the grass mowed. I'm talking slick when I'm with the big sign, nigga. Could hit your bitch, you can never hit mine, nigga. In my DM, they electric slide, nigga. No catfishing, this is not a fish fry, nigga. Never switch sides on my dog. Catch a contact, hit your ride, go to Mars. Everybody say, how could you come about your face and say I ain't the hardest nigga you'd have never heard? I left off like a rapper's dead and bird. A verse for me is like 11 birds. It did the math, it's like $2,000 every word. I'm on the purge, I beat the church. I killed some niggas and I walked away from it. Then I observed just how you curved and told a nigga that they gotta wait for it. I know you ain't hot demand. I'm ballin' on the pussy nigga like you want a man. I'm drowning all inside the pussy like I never swam. Hey, fuck your IG, I put something on your sonogram. I'm the man.
Meet me at the London. If you find time, we can run one. Talk about some things we can undo. You just in the pen, I can find you. 6'1" on the money, 9'2". You just say the word and I run too. 2 texts, no reply, that's when I knew. Yeah, I knew.
Talk, church talk, I can make a brick walk. Up north, down south, Bankhead to Rachel walk. Hit it with a little water, stretch it like a vocal cord. STD, I run my ward, fuck a fed and his daughter. I'm a rented compound, I supply the cigarettes and bread. I got a main and she gon' ride. She took a quarter and she fled. I'm in the land so she gon' ride. I see the pain and shout it like fries. I'm at the London with some big thighs. No fries, cheese steaks with the fish size. Then your mama tell you when something on fire, stop driving road. Yeah. I been on the road like a pair of spinners and stop and goes. Yeah, I can charge him like a Dodge and a demon. Got your broad in the garage eating semen. Every time a nigga go back to the war, niggas act like they won't start and we leave them on that semen.
Meet me at the London. If you find time, we can run one. Talk about some things we can undo. You just in the pen, I can find you. 6'1" on the money, 9'2". You just say the word and I run too. 2 texts, no reply, that's when I knew. Yeah, I knew.
I crush down with your money. 44 times, you won't play. 5 say it ain't I might down my money. City won't time when you play. 4 say.
Say she wanna eat sushi, I gave her enough to go shopping. Anything she wants, she cashing out without the problems. How you gonna love a nigga that ain't got love for your mama? You can die today, it ain't gonna save me never drama. So
working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up.
hold up. Help me fight my demons, I know the usual. I had put a chop in her name in the Ruger. She hang on the block where I hang like a shooter. Throw away a cougar, she didn't wanna leave. Treat her like garbage, my heart was on my sleeve. Treat the child better with your company at least. Why should I have love for her, you can get it out the creek? Why should I have trust for you, you ain't get it out the creek? Why should I have love for you, you ain't kneeling to my feet? Why should I be caring when I know I can't be beat? See how the ice be glaring when I come through and retreat. It's easy to know it's us if a body in the street. Two turned up in the plug, talk Swahili. After I pay my taxes, I go rich immediately. In another tax bracket, you niggas beneath me. Who causing the racket in Jamaica on the weekend? Half a ticket on vacation, I ripped up the receipt. And she called me daddy, cause my money long like Stevie. Stay down with my son, right or wrong, LBG Street. How you gonna be gang bang? You rich is in your bloodline. Coming with some Taliban's, everything getting done now. Halloween gang in this bitch, she getting scary. 300,000 for the cheap spray, cause spit a truck from legendary. Little bitch, I upped up the mama, the little bitch. Had it in the fish street. little bitch. My ring costs a big B as well as my wrist. I'm getting money like this, can't tell problems exist. I wake up fresh every day like I'm going to take a pic. Hermes hit my main line cause they know I'm lit. Tucked 150 racks in your purse, little bitch. And when I wake up, go surfing, you pussy hit. Say she wanna eat sushi, I gave her enough to go shopping. Pitching up my bitch, I love her up and went exotic. How you gon' love a nigga, they mind I'm breaking for your mama. You can die today, I swear I still won't break my promise. Hold up. Make love on the weekend as usual. Take drugs going up on as usual. Every time she come, big screw. Every time I put my chains on, big screw. It's cool, man. Got red bottoms on. Life is good. You know what I mean? Like, $100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. Ooh, I done flew one out to Spain to be in my domain, automata, bitch. Ooh, dropped $3 on the rain, cause it been the truck, little bitch. Ooh, I was in the trap, serving cocaine, they ain't been the same since.
I can't entertain all that flaws. I ain't been the same since they crossed. You know how they do when you pop. You know baby can't do all that talk. I got fools trying to sue up in boss. I got dudes trying to sue down the floor. I got hoes in LA, got a new boo from Georgia. A million. Saved up to get on my door. Over 100K, the true feeling my lawyer. Let's go. 6 digits on cases, we beat it like Tina. Baby, all on the TV, that's easy. I mix meal with the gas and I bought me a Beamer. Yeah. Now I pull up and ghost, they ain't see me. Cash, I know she gon' fuck, I ain't asking. Effing it like a prop, this shit plastic. Fuck around and get popped just for laughing. Put that boy in the box, pick a cash. I go take that hoe to Dior, pick a shoe. Let's go. Kickin' shit with your whore, that's my boo. You can go put hardwood on the floor with a hoop. We like up in the score, we gon' shoot. I never pick up when she call me. Help the bitch start a business, she boss. Like to wake up to sex like it's coffee. People gets on my neck, this shit cost. Cartier, all the Rolex. Go. I've been broke before, bet I won't go back. She walk through the door, take that, I make a hole. They ain't see me go out like a hoe yet. Ho, you know these little niggas got hoe ways. Make them come here and out like the old days. You a throwaway, baby, it's okay. My boy off a pill, need a OJ. Yeah, bitch.
$100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. Ooh, I done flew one out to Spain to be in my domain, automata, bitch. Ooh, dropped $3 on the rain, cause it been the truck, little bitch. Ooh, I was in the trap, serving cocaine, they ain't been the same since.
Spent 30 racks on a rap, bitch, could've went and bought a brick. Whoa, $250,000 worth of chain, ass ice balls, everybody lit. Whoa, it ain't no cop inducing, nigga, that's your man, everybody get it. Whoa, made a few mil, made a few hits, fucking everybody, bitch. Got something to lose, so I stay with a shooter. Got game from a go, I know how to maneuver. She kinda cute, really something to do. I got something to do, so I gave her the Pluto. $100,000 for a body, go inside the house and everybody get it. Got a plug on inside it overnight, I'm flooding everybody's city. Extra 350 might buy me a Richie, this shit get ridiculous. If Sarah get sick, spot in Toronto, just show me the real ones. Give me a few months, I'll be serving the 6. Whoa, Rolls truck, $4, all white goods, call it good luck. Whoa, neck lit, wrist lit, look, don't touch, reach, get bust. How about a Phantom, they think it's Houdini. 750 one day, I bought 2 Lamborghinis. 100 rand spin on them, 4-carat diamond, I didn't propose, but I bought her a ring. They had my bro, had to let that boy go. Yeah, stick to the code, he ain't tell him a thing. Ballin' like we won a championship, yeah, everybody get a ring.
$100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. Ooh, I done flew one out to Spain to be in my domain, automata, bitch. Ooh, dropped $3 on the rain, cause it been the truck, little bitch. Ooh, I was in the trap, serving cocaine, they ain't been the same since. Ooh, $100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. $100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. Yeah, $100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch. $100,000 for the cheapest ring on the nigga finger, little bitch.
I've been on top for a while. Now it's I chip it to the moon. Fast car make go vroom vroom. Take it to the boom boom room. I'm a visionary. I got the niggas scared. Bought a big patty with a brand new wrist set it. Inside the new Maybach coupe in the butter jelly. I'ma slide in the road, slide in the Lambo, slide in the Benz. Been working on my confidence and respect. I get a lot of it. I don't never mean to contradict. If it's up, then it's up with us. Tryna pour another cup with us. Need my brother sip mud with me. My bitch is a 10, my jet in the wind. I fight at the wind. My dog just caught another body, now he pop his anties again. Caught his ass slipping at the cul-de-sac. Sliding on the ops playing toe tag. Just in Miami, I was chilling with a Zozak. In the Rolls Royce, I don't need a low jack. Keep the 45, I had to hold it. Gotta ride with it, cause I'm chosen. I just pulled up on Let Me Land, playing dice with must've bet it on the 4 to 10. I remember wondering what I'm gonna eat. Pull up that Bentley with no key. I've been on top for a while.
That's how I chip it to the moon. Fast car make gon' vroom vroom. Trigger to the boom boom room. I'm a visionary. I got the niggas scared. Bought a big paddock with a brand new wrist set it. Inside the new Maybach coupe in the butter jelly. I'm sliding in the road, sliding in the lamb, sliding in the Benz. Been working on my confidence and respect. I get a lot of it. I don't never mean to contradict. If it's up, then it's up with us. Mud, see me no mud. Niggas talk shit, but they never ever knew us. I've been on top for a while. That's how I chip it to the moon. Fast car make gon' vroom vroom. Take it to the boom boom room. I'm a visionary. I got the niggas scared. Bought a big paddock with a brand new wrist set it. Inside the new Maybach coupe in the butter jelly. I'm sliding in the road, sliding in the lamb, sliding in the Benz. Been working on my confidence and respect. I get a lot of it. I don't never mean to contradict. If it's up, then it's up with us.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number. Flexing on these niggas, every bone and muscle. Steady taking shots, never hurting them. Even then, y'all don't worry nothing. And I like to give a shout out to my niggas with the game plan. And shout outs on my niggas with escape plans. 20 bands, rain dance. We can either rain check or we can make plans. Pockets loaded, rocket loaded, can't let's rock and roll this. Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number. Flexing on these niggas, every bone and muscle. Steady taking shots, never hurting them. Even then, y'all don't worry nothing. And I like to give a shout out to my niggas with the game plan. And shout outs on my niggas with escape plans. 20 bands, rain dance. We can either rain check or we can make plans. Pockets loaded, rocket loaded, can't let's rock and roll this. Time to go, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels locked and loaded. Diamonds glowing, chop, climbing on them. You think I'm jumping out the window, how I got them open. Line around the corner, line them up the block and over. Sometimes I even stop the smoking when it's time to focus. My shade, Dior, my pants, velour. Create, explore, expand, concord.
I came, I saw, I came, I saw. I praise the Lord, then break the law. I take what's mine, then take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours. I came, I saw, I came, I saw. I praise the Lord, then break the law. I take what's mine, then take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours. Yeah. I sold the pack, the loose, the hard. Yeah. I listen to X, I beat the bars. Yeah. The snakes, the rats, the cats, the dogs, the games, a trap, protect your heart. Yeah. I waited in line, return, refine the new design. It's time to shine, to shine, to shine, to shine, to shine. I hustle, I flex, the world is mine. So please believe, allow degrees. These niggas, disease, don't speak, we squeeze. I make the devil go weak, the knees. You hate, you're lame, you lost. I came, I saw, I came, I saw. I praise the Lord, then break the law. I take what's mine, then take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours. I came, I saw, I came, I saw. I praise the Lord, then break the law. I take what's mine, then take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours.
She came, I came, now what's my name? My chain, my pants with the chain. They know it's me, the hat and the shades. They heard my voice and they ran to the stage. My veins, my braids, my mans, my babe, my girls, my ex, my hoes that I left.
Wait, I step out the car, that's a flex.
Get thanks, get fresh, raise the love and finesse. Less.
I came, I saw, I came, I saw. I praise the Lord, then break the law. I take
what's mine and take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours. I came, I saw, I came, I saw. I praise the Lord and break the law. I take what's mine and take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours.
Tap in. Tap in.
Okay, I pull
Live.
up right at the after party. You and all your friends say they love to get naughty. Sipping on that heat, I know you
Pull up,
love.
pull up, 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 pull up,
Okay, I
pull
pull
up,
up.
pull up, pull up, pull up. It's not just the same, pause it real quick. Pause it real quick. It's not just the same though. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. We've had to go through our adaptation of situations. Shout out to my man Blaze with the campaign mix. If you know how we do our format each and every Sunday, you know what I mean? We've been doing it like that for a minute. So I want to make sure, y'all know, shout out to Blaze and the campaign mix. It ain't quite the same while he out of town, but we got to get to them coins. You know what I mean? Even though I ain't backed by coins no more. Either way, though, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. MusicMediaLounge.com. Thriller campaign. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. Shout out to the Autonomous Party, all the social club members. Shout out to everybody in the chat with us live. I hope you tapped in, you know what I mean, with our special panel guest tonight. You know what I'm saying? We hope to spark a good conversation and inspire some people that might not know or know already. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to these conversations, some things to go look into. Shout out to Opie Mija. I just dropped a video. We just dropped today dealing with Genealogy 101 and how it correlates to a certain region. We're going to shout out to Savannah, Georgia. And he's been doing a series and he's going to keep doing them on his on his own will. That's why I shout out to him, Iconic Americans, that he's doing this in the way he's doing it so that people can go do their research on their own autonomously. You know what I'm saying? This is like our nonprofit motive, and he plays a big part in that, dealing with the fact of us wanting to make sure that people who are interested in genealogy of their ancestry can go look through certain records to find out, based off of regions, what they people might have been identified or self-identified or, you know what I mean, mixed with, you know what I mean? Or tribal affiliation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be biased. Whatever you might find in the free people of color genealogy that we're doing, we think it fits best to be non-biased, that everybody can go do their own research based off of that part of this conversation that we be having, dealing with our culture and our people, that they like to describe as Black, Negro, colored, and then obviously later African American. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna be talking about a lot of that. You checked out the flyer and all that good stuff. We've been able to cover some information, and we're gonna cover some of this tonight with our special guests and everything too. You know what I mean? Can y'all hear me out there? Everybody hear me live? Make sure we live. Everybody can hear me clear. Cause I don't want to be missing it. Cause last week we had a little, some situations. I don't want to go in and then. So let me know if you hear me live. Give me a thumbs up if you hear me live right now. Tap in with us. I appreciate that. All right, word. Oh, again, the SoundCloud that we be playing until my man Blaze get back is definitely correlated to the mix and different mixes he's done. Now, as you see Thriller Campaign on the SoundCloud, so you can go to the SoundCloud. Most of the mixes have been put together by Super Blaze. So just in case things like this happen, we can be autonomous enough to go ahead and put the mix on that he's developed over the time. You know what I mean? So somewhat prepared. You know what I mean? Shout out to South Florida though, cause that's where I'm at. Boy, let me tell you, we had one of them events this week, and we're still dealing with the repercussions of what took place in South Florida, the Everglades, particularly because everybody loves to say Miami, but I'm gonna say Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. You know what I mean? We took a hit. We set a record. We made history. 25 inches of rain in one day, non-stop rain. I'm about to exaggerate. I told people 18 feet. I was talking shit. We be on the water, we be dead. And the nigga like, damn, Matt, why you said that shit? Listen, I literally said, I admit my wrongs. You feel me? I said what I said, and I admit that wasn't right, Mac. After I said, I'm like, nigga, I said feet, nigga. Did I say feet? Nigga, did I say this? Did I just say feet? No, it wasn't feet, y'all. But either way, it's still historically, when you see how the road look, that's why I might have thought that process, because you think about 18 feet being spread out over a certain amount of miles, you're like, God damn it, just how this shit look. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you, that's how that shit look. Boy, that's a lot, right? That shouldn't have did that. But I'm gonna finish it. If it goes in the cup, I finish it. Like my mama said, go finish your plate. Go eat everything on the plate. That's not a shot. That's just something I can sip over time. You know what I mean? Over this process of this conversation we about to have. You know what I mean? Well, we live though. Hey, yeah, man. Shout out to everybody also too. And that was a crazy situation though. Just to let y'all know, we get flooded. Yeah, Everglades got flooded. Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, 954 area code. Our airport got flooded. You couldn't no airplanes coming in, no airplanes going out type shit. You know what I'm saying? So everybody that went through that Fort Lauderdale experience this weekend, you already know what it is. So they say it's a 1 in 1,000 chance that can happen, right? Some shit like that. I might be exaggerated again, but I mean, hey, that's why something I heard. You know what I mean? Over there. To us twice I don't. All I know is, and hey, listen. When you hear people talk about, we could be in a position where Florida goes underwater. Feel me? If I was really like focused on this part of the conversation, we can go to the maps we seen where it shows there used to be a lake and that a boat can actually go through Central Florida and all that shit. Feel me? They get to the Gulf of Mexico from the Atlantic, and that everything underneath the Everglades technically. You want to do it? Right. You still probably can still do it. You still could probably take that route. A cruise line can still probably cut through it. I mean, whatever it is, though, it's on water, though. That's what I'm saying. It's not on land. They cutting through the Atlantic, getting to that Gulf, midway through what we will call Central Florida, that actually divides what we call the Everglades, where the Tri-County area. You know what I'm saying? And some of the other Fort Pierce and all y'all up there. You feel me? Y'all fall into the range of this. You know what I mean? But down to the Keys and shit. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Just let y'all know we down in that area. It's easy to flood. You know what I mean? Miami flooded too, though, by the way. Miami flooded for no reason, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't need 24 hours of rain with that kind of record for it to get flooded. Just to let people know that. Even though Fort Lauderdale was the focus. You know what I mean? Miami got hit too. Shit, 24 hours of rain. But it's raining right now, by the way. And I'm in my flip flops. That's some Florida shit. We ain't even preparing right. At least I could take off my flip flops. I'll be in barefoot like a native, walking through the swamps. Tap in with us. God, when you ready, man? Let's pull up the 44. Your boy hit 44. You know what I mean? Dive 23. Yeah, in Dive 23, the year 2023, your boy has hit 44. Yes, sir. I've hit 44. Yeah, I made it. Solo return. Thank everybody that gave a shout out to that over this weekend. Shout out especially to my wife, Nancy, and Just Fancy, and my daughter Coco Chanel. That's why I'm CC. It's my baby girl. But I'm 44. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I'm here. You know what I mean? They say it's a lot of significant things that go with the 44. Some people in the community have spoke about this number in various ways of how it correlates to them or in a occultic manner. You know what I'm saying? I should say. But 44 to me was significant because I've always known that this number in the esoteric, occult, Kabbalistic community, and this number, numerology wise, is correlated to a lot of different things. So, being that my Earth Strong just passed, I happen to be born on Easter Sunday in 1979. I'm telling my age. You heard me? Feel me, God? In the year that I was born, my mama had me, it was on a Sunday. And it happened to be Easter Sunday. Shout out to my pops. He actually was born on Thanksgiving. It's something that falls in our tradition. Yeah, I celebrate us niggas. You know what I mean? You either eating food or going to church or doing both. You heard me? Around my time. That part. You know what I mean? So either way, the number 44 though, pull up. Let's go into this real quick. I want to give y'all a little quick something before we got our guest pulling up on us. And meaning and symbology of this number 44. You know what I'm saying? And how many things it's correlated to. I thought because I'm 44, I might as well give you a little something dealing with it. Oh, Phone calls coming in. Okay, here we go. When used in the occult, the number 44 is most often used as a similitude number for Christ. It is often invoked and perverted in order to harness the Christ energies and turn them upside down. 44 is referred to as the fourth master number. According to R. Alendi, this number must logically link the principle of the periodic mutations of the nature to the cosmic manifestation of those. J. Boheme calls number 44, 45, and 46 the trinity of human life. In the Bible, the number 44 is even attributed. Slide up a little bit, God. It says the final part of Jesus' earthly ministry is 44 days long. This period began on the day he was crucified, which was Wednesday, April 5th, and it's still Aries season in 30 AD. Nisan, for those who subscribe to that term, and 14 in the year of 3790, according to the Hebrew calendar used in the Bible. It ended on the day he gave his final instructions to his disciples and ascended to heaven from the Mount of Olives. Shout out to Mount Olive Baptist Church. Yeah, I got to do that. It's something that I went through. I literally went to Mount Olive Baptist Church when I was a Jew. Yeah, so it is what it is. People took me there. You feel me? In Japan, we went to Mount Olive Baptist Church. We got the plaque. In Japan, Okinawa, my dad got the plaque that we was at with their names on it. Mount Olive Baptist Church with the base and all that shit. To let you know, Mount Olive got around. You heard me? Mount Olive got around as a denomination. Let me tell you something. So everybody that went to Mount Olive, go ahead and tap in. Either way, though, it says the fourth book of the Bible, the book of Numbers, contains 1288 or 400, 400, 400, 44 plus 44 verses. It is 44 times shorter than 3 times 444 or 666 plus 666. The number 1000 is used 44 times in the Bible. The sum of occurrences of the numbers of the Bible higher or equal. And that's where people get the 144,000. You see that word 44 was inside the word 144,000 for those, especially Jehovah's Witnesses out there. Shout out to y'all, right? You know what I mean? Because I heard y'all use this number a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, I'm probably pronouncing this shit wrong. It says the Boret's new 99 gods divided into 55 good and 44 bad. Of course, the 44 have to be bad in that way. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But all these different 44s and shit. The god of Kronos was surrounded by 44 assistants. And you know I love the word 22 too. That's half of 44 divided by 2. And the 22 and then 22 secondaries. And according to the Phoenician name, and I can't pronounce that either right way, so don't get mad at me. San Chonchian, that's how I said it. That's how I said it. Don't be mad at me now. I'm gonna keep it moving. All right. So I'll spell it for y'all though. I'm gonna spell it for y'all though. I ain't gonna mess up and take a sip first. I'm gonna take a sip first. It's a big word. San, SANCHONIATON. That's right. Its music also the New Testament, 44 verses to reach the total number of 8,000 verses and all that good stuff. Aleister Crowley, for those in the conscious community, you know he's very particular. He was on Michael Jackson's album, actually. People talk about. Some people say he influenced, obviously, people like Michael Jackson, but still, either way, he had the book, and you can go research him. Aleister Crowley, Liber 44, and Mass of Phoenix, and this is the invocation intended to invoke the sun god Ra. For those, that's Horus. You know what I mean? Slide up a little bit more. We gonna do some shit to this right here. You hear me? I want y'all to see something. This all correlated to 44. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure y'all know that everything's correlated to 44 with this everything in here. I'm giving you a chance. Mark Twain's mysterious stranger features Satan, supposed nephew, whose alternate name, his parable works, is 44. I mean, like, it's a whole bunch of shit correlated to this 44. You know what I'm saying? Let y'all look at it real quick briefly. Let them slide up, let them look at it. Let me get something lined up real quick though. Again, we appreciate everybody tapping in with us live. And everybody that's tapping in after the fact, if you subscribe and like, go to our YouTube, obviously, you know what I mean, to subscribe and like. And we go on Facebook, we go on Twitter, TAP. We're on Clubhouse. Shout out to Clubhouse. Obviously, we can't forget about the foundation, theatomisparty.com. You can find everything from there. You know what I mean? Merchandise and all these things you're watching right now. We appreciate your support for everybody that has tapped in on that level. But yeah, either way, 44. We can pull up. We can pull that up real quick. You know what I'm saying? We can pull that up real quick. Let me see if I can get this joint. I want to play a joint before we get on. I want to get shout out to my man Black Jagger. You know what I'm saying? We tribal. Melanation. That's the song that I've been supporting for the last couple of months because it's just really crazy how good it is. You know what I mean? And every time I think about my man Black, I'll be like, yo, that's a song that comes to mind. Okay, Bet Money. You know what I mean? And I got Mirror. We're gonna play a joint real quick before we go live for that guest though. I mean, it's 44. You know what I'm saying? 144,000. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. You know what I mean? We're gonna go ahead and go in on this a little bit though. Tonight though, my special guest, my panel guests, I got Nine Ether, I got Tecumseh, you know what I mean? I got my man Lee Cummings. You know what I mean? I got a lot of guests pulling up from my Earth Strong weekend to have a conversation and just to be able to vibe real quick. And you see the topics that I put on the flyer. If you go to our IG or Facebook or whatever the case, you might have seen it floating around on this week. You know what I mean? Shout out next week. We got some ladies pulling up on us next week for a panel discussion. And both these ladies are very intriguing. We'll give them a shout out ahead of time. You know what I mean? Elizabeth and Miss Stell. They both are very intriguing stories and information that I've come across listening to them speak to me about it, or us, because it wasn't just me. I'm not exclusive or nothing. You know what I mean? But still, a little bit. But you know what I mean? We got to talk to them, and you know what I'm saying? It's been a great exchange of information to know their history and what they've been doing able to do and what they stand on about it. You know what I mean? Woo. You got that late? You want to play the song real quick? We can play the song before we bring up the guests. I mean, if it can't, we go straight to it. Let me know how you want to do it. Yeah, if you can play it, can you play a joint? I like to play a song before we get started. If not, we go straight to it. Maybe we can play it at the end. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that, because his song get me hyped. You know what I'm saying? If you can just bobble cool. Everybody pulled up. Okay, we almost then. You know what? Let's get straight to it. Pull up Lee. Pull up my man Lee. Lee.
What's up, Doc?
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, I can't complain. I'm still here.
Man, I like that maroon shirt you got on, man. I like that maroon shirt.
Hey,
I like that.
thanks a lot, buddy.
I ain't mad.
What's good in Florida?
Is it me?
Huh? Can you hear me? I don't know. Yeah, let me see.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, yeah. Sorry about that. Yo, we went through floods in the last couple of weeks. I don't know. This connection shit in this building is crazy, but either way, man, thank you for pulling up on us tonight, man. You know what I mean? Your information's been getting around, Lee. It's getting around, man.
Hey, man, the false prophets, they jumped out there first. You see what I'm saying? So like this information game, there were guys that ran before us. They done played out. Because
that's most definitely.
The people started doing research, and now the people they making a determination. He knows what he's talking about. He don't know what he's talking about. So now that the people are informed, the false teachers and the false prophets are falling by the wayside.
Yeah, it's a lot of people being exposed real quick. And actually, I got some people, besides me and you tonight, I got some people that's on my team, you know what I mean? Shout out to the party. And I'm one of them because they've been doing research on certain things. And I think because of what, again, you don't get enough credit for it, but you know what I mean? The Negro Question series and how it's reached I'm seeing people doing videos on YouTube everywhere, reading about your book. I see you was on Lex Luger show. You remember
Yeah,
him?
that was some time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a year ago, but you be getting around. You know what I'm saying? People
Hey,
really are
you know
starting
that
to.
you know what the whole idea is? The whole idea is continue to do research, and then when you have the opportunity to present it, then you present it in an intelligent manner. And so what's starting to happen is this, like you said, a lot of the camps are using the Negro Question book series to teach their people.
That's a
And
beautiful thing, man.
hey man, this a blessing.
Hey, I know you don't. I'm gonna get into that later. I want to get to the juicy stuff first before we get into that because that's petty shit. I mean, you talk about that. But the camps be doing it. You know what I mean? 'Cause I think when you reached a wider group than just the camps that we would call Hebrew
Exactly.
Israelites with
Exactly.
just the Negro Question series. You've touched people who are indigenous that's doing genealogy, finding out they got European ancestry that were Negroes, and now they're understanding a piece of the heritage that's been taken away from them to understand who these people really were. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that is the bigger picture that people need to pay attention to outside of what you might self-identify with your creed or religion or anything else, is that this piece of history that you've covered. It's not a religious thing. It's history that you covered. Dealing with 1650 to 16th century to 17th century, 18th century. That's 200 years of information that we've lost. You know what I mean? You've covered.
Actually 300, actually to be exact, 300 years they tried to hide. The European history, 300 years.
300 years. So look, I got my guests in the back, and I want to make sure everybody on the stage with us.
Okay.
You know, I want to pull up everybody before we go into some of these sources I got. I got a video I want to show you how one of the dudes, some say he's an Indian.
Right.
He looked like us, but he subscribed to being an Indian. And he did a whole video on you. You heard me? This book right here. This book.
Oh, part 6. That's part 6 is real. You know, part 6, and you know it's got to be real because the white scholars from these major institutions have not commented on the research at all.
They have not.
Terrified of it.
They don't want to even talk about it. Like, leave that shit alone.
They know it's real.
No, we ain't gonna talk about it. Yes, we messed up. For those who might deny this, Princeton, the president, Woodrow Wilson, you know what I mean? They've already came out in 2020 during the pandemic and said, we denounce this racist history narrative that he presented. That obviously is connected to what you're presenting, because this information got taken out of our school systems in our history, because the Harvard universities in them, you know what I mean? They got this. The Ivy Leagues, they got this information you're talking about.
Yeah, they got it.
You know what I mean? It's not like something you're hiding.
They got it, but the idea is, we always issue. I always like to issue a disclaimer when I go on shows. I have no interest in racism. I don't benefit from it. I don't profit from it. I'm not interested in it. And so when we issue that disclaimer at the very beginning of every show, we take the racist ammunition from him. He needs the racist concept to kill the truth. So when we issue that disclaimer, guess what? Now we can move forward.
But money. So this is what we're gonna do.
Right. It ain't about color, it's about truth.
No, we're just telling history. It's the truth. We want to know the truth.
No, this wasn't aimed. That wasn't aimed at you. That was aimed at the element behind the screen in these different households that will try to use racism to kill the truth.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. So we're gonna do this though. I want to introduce my other guests real quick. I'm gonna go to, from oldest to young. So 9 Ether. What up? You there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can hear me?
Yeah, you good. You live and clear. Shout out to you. You know what I mean? 9 Ether. You part of the party lead. Just let you know. You know what I'm saying? So I asked him to be involved in this conversation.
How you doing, bro? Yeah.
Beautiful. How you and the family?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's what's up. And then I got my young man. He's the youngest out of the crew. Tecumseh. Pull up Tecumseh real quick. Let's get him an introduction. Tecumseh been doing a dialogue, and Lee, man, it's very detailed. I gotta give him a shout out. You know what I'm saying, for what he's been doing, and that's why I asked him to come on this panel discussion, with our conversation tonight, just to join us for a convo, and you know what I mean. And I want him to get some questions in too for the younger generation that's in his bracket. You know what I mean? Tecumseh, you there?
Right.
Peace, peace. What's good, everybody?
Peace to you, Tecumseh.
Honor Tecumseh.
Peace, bro.
Pull up to peace up, Lee. Pull up, Lee. So Lee, man, I want to show this video real quick. I'm gonna show a video. Can we get to the video real quick? I want to show a video of this man talking about, you know what I mean, and then we're gonna pull up everybody. We're gonna talk and go from piece by piece with this conversation here. I want to show a video where somebody is depicting dealing with your information on YouTube. You know what I mean?
All right. Man.
I wanted to do the Indian dude first, but we could do that first. We could do that first. Go there. Pull it up, because I see what's going on. I'm gonna move with the joint. Yeah, pull that up. That's it. Yeah. I want people to check all these things. We got some things interesting. I want you to see how people are really talking about your information. How we'll play a little quick clip.
Greetings.
6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes.
What it is?
We ain't want to do all that. Go to the 6 minute mark.
In that it proves the original founding fathers of the 13 British colonies were 5 black kings from Europe. So when they are teaching in the schools that the founders of, the United States and all that, blah, and they're showing you the Caucasian, people, that is, yes, they founded the United States with the assistance of the people from the 13 colonies. All right. So once again, my goal is to put this in perspective. All right. Now I provided, and when that I means, the author of the book, which is Lee Cummings, right? I provide you with a rare ships manifest that gives a physical description of the Black Scottish Highlanders as they board the convict ships. You will also read the eyewitness account of former English Secret Service agent John McKee as he describes the Black princes, dukes, and barons of the Scottish nation. I, meaning Lee Cummings, have inserted DNA evidence from 4 different sources which validate the colonization of North America by Black people. Like I told y'all, Chief Kalanago know what he's talking about. It wasn't the pale men who colonized our land.
Right.
Okay. It was the Black nobles of Europe. Okay. At that time, Europe, Africa, they're the same landmass. They're the same thing. Europe was Africa and Africa was Europe. They're interchangeable. They're synonymous. All right. Keep that in mind. So once again, I'm just here to validate the things that I say. Do your research. Okay. The original colonizers, the invaders of our land, who first enslaved the American Indians, what was deemed the American Indians were the Black nobles. Whether you want to call them Moors or not all of them call themselves Moors. Okay? Not all of them call themselves Moors. And I'm not going to get into this debate right now. This is not about Moors. This is about telling the truth. All right? About who came here to colonize us. So, all right. So when you start talking and I did a video about the American Empire, now you would see how all this is coming together. Because like I said, I like to bring my facts. All right. Now it says.
Stop right there. Stop right there. You see how he said? Now look, you see his name. Kalingo, Flying Eagle. Kalanago. Sorry, I apologize. Flying Eagle. You see his hand. So you know he's dark-skinned people. You know what I mean? You see that, right? You see his hand. So clearly this man is saying he's indigenous and he's using your book, this book particularly, to talk about the 13 colonies and that they're factually Negroes.
Right. It's like
you feel me?
It's like there were historians that came before me that identified they identified that the Scots and the Brits and the Germans were black. I think one of his name was uh, Ivan Service something. I forget the and I repent for not knowing his last name. That ain't showing no honor. But I didn't think I was going to bring his name up in the conversation. But to make a long story short, those brothers identified that the black kings ruled Europe. But that last step was the step that I took, where I identified. I said, well, if they were the original kings of Europe, then they had to be the original colonizers of North America. I was the first one to make the association by what we call the Ruha of Al-Him, the Spirit of God. There's no other way that I would have been able to identify that because all the men that came before me missed it. So it had to be the Ruha, Manna, Al-Him, the Spirit of God. You're muted.
Would you say the Ruha as far as the people before you missed it, or are you just giving them grace? Because I don't know. I think some of the people know that they just didn't want to put it out. I think you just the first one to put it out.
They stopped with it was never published that the original colonists from Europe were black Scots, black Germans, black Brits. I was the first one.
Right.
But that's why I said it was by the Ruha, Manna, Al-Him, the Spirit of God. Because there's no other way that I could have seen that, because I went to Purdue University, Big Ten, one of the richest institutions in the world, and they didn't teach me that there. I went to black institutions in Chicago. I took black history, and I didn't learn nothing in black history. So I know that it was the Ruha. Spirit of Al-Him, Spirit of God.
I got you on that. Something led you to go down this lane, basically. To
led me out. Everything that I look, man. What you doing is by the Ruha.
Indeed.
Yeah,
definitely the Spirit that led me to do it.
The brothers on the panel, everybody's being led by that same Ruha, that same Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit of what? The Spirit of truth.
The truth is what we're here for. The Autonomous Party. We want the truth about our people. 9 to Tecumseh, is something y'all want to say before I go to the next source? We move along in this convo.
Keep cooking.
Tecumseh, is there something you want to say about anything before we move on to the next piece?
Nah, I ain't got nothing to say. We keep rolling.
All right. Let me get this next joint. This next video I got is dealing with Europe. It says traces the black nobility. You know what I mean? I want to show you how people have been going into your information and how it's starting to spread. You know what I mean? Are we there? Is everybody there with me?
Yeah, we're
making sure. All right, making sure. Because I know I'm in the back. It's been flooding down here and all that good stuff. I told you I'm going to fix it. And I'm trying to keep my word, but I ain't got no control over the weather. All right, so this quick little joint we're going to play is dealing with certain areas. And it's going to be key. Because, Lee, I got a surprise for you. You know what I mean? It's something that you, on your spirit of what you've done with your series, dealing with these swarthy, as they would say, dark, black, Negro, European people, and the coat of arms and everything. And this is a particular person that I like to call Yaya, you know what I'm saying, that would technically be connected to Portugal. And there's another person who's the last king of America connected to Germany. You know what I'm saying? And they're connected. And I'm going to bring that up in a minute, but we're going to play this video real quick, show a little clip of how they're showing each crest. I want you to tell me what you think about this.
Germany, Portugal, coat of arms. As you see. Look at this, 1601. $1631. Again, I gotta point this out, man. Shield of David, a pair of Shield of David. Count the points. Everywhere you go, you find these. castles and all that. Look at that. Royalty. Moor, which means dark. That's what we call ourselves. Now, I want to go back to this book called Ancient and Medieval History. I want to go to page 343. It says, for both Bulgars and Serbs, the goal of every effort was the destruction of Constantinople. Okay, and these were all black men. We were fighting against ourselves, internal warfare. That's why we were destroyed. That's why the Most High said, you're going to break my law? Okay. He played a joke on us, basically. It was a bad joke, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But it's the Most High's will. He took the basest, lowest, filthiest people on earth, and he put them over us. Okay? Because we were stupid as hell. We were ignorant. Okay? We fought amongst each other instead of trying to fight against the devil. All right, these are the Bulgars. The Bulgars were black. Let's go to page 385. Here is Louis the First, the Great, 1342 to 82 of Hungary. All you see is knights, his guards. They're all black. And he's black. Look at this. They just had to put some bullshit on it. But this is a black man. And here too, look, his knights are black too. That's clear. Now, back to the book. African presence in early Europe, page 194. Just different parts of Europe now, not Germany. That states Moorish domination extended to parts of Italy. In 846 AD, they held the city of Rome in a state of siege, while in 878 they captured Sicily from the Normans, which the Normans were black anyway. 20 years later, the Moors took control of southern Italy by defeating Otto II of Germany. And here is Alessandro de' Medici, Duke of Florence. All right. As you see, the broad nose, eyes, the lips, the woolly hair. That's a black man. Duke of Florence, Alessandro de' Medici. Okay. So now let's go to page 190. Oh, sorry, let's go back to the book. African presence in early Europe. I'm sorry, sex and race. Page, because this all links up, man. You know, it's funny. It's kind of like the scriptures, but it links up. Page 155. Here is First John the Sixth of King Portugal and his son. So here's John the Sixth, clearly a black man of Portugal. And he must have had Edomite concubines because this is his son. But as you see, it's the seed that matters. He's a Jake. This guy's a Jake, clearly. He's a Jake. This is his father.
You're Jake. Jacob. Should have known that.
Back to the book. I'm sorry, go to page 169. states, Negro strain entered Belgium and the Netherlands after the Christian era, principally through the Jews who migrated there in large numbers from Spain and Portugal. So for them to say that Negro strain came from the Jews, that the Jews had to be Negro themselves. Okay. Another writer.
Stop right there. See, you see what he just said?
Yeah.
What you think about that? He said, at this time frame, the Jew and the Negro are interchangeable.
Well,
do you disagree with that?
No, I mean, the information that he's given, this is what we've been teaching throughout the whole flick, the whole movie. But what he's saying is, see, there's a few things. This is why, remember what we said like maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, is by what? By the Ruha. Because the spirit opens up your what? It opens up your eyes. Now, he gave you images of black Portuguese and black Spaniards, right? That's what we looked at initially. We saw black Portuguese and black Spaniards, right? In the book that he had.
Yeah.
So what did the Negro question say? The Negro question said that the slave owners in the South were black.
Right.
Because who started the slave trade? The Portuguese and the Spanish.
Right.
So slavery wasn't based on what? Skin color. It was based on religion. The Portuguese and the Spanish were what? They were Catholics. And the Hebrews in West Africa were Hebrew Israelites.
Right.
And that's what the paper bulls tied back to. So when the brothers say, well, it's synonymous that these people, that the Jew and these people, these blacks that was in Europe are one and the same, that's what we teach.
Exactly. I mean, all right. So no pressure on you because you've been consistent. I like people that be consistent with me. Some people be mad about that. You know what I mean? Because
go ahead.
No. With the problem, I'm gonna tell you. All right, I'm gonna tell you what my problem I run into in the community. You know what I mean? Because you doctor, you got a lot of titles in front of your name, Lee, and outside of that, you don't see these people on a common level. Like sometimes I bump into them and having a conversation with these people that are researching certain things about our people, and for some reason, and that's even I'm talking about. I'm being non-biased out there for anybody that's listening to us tonight live, and underneath the spectrum of what they call black, from the indigenous side to the Pan-African side. You know what I'm saying? I ain't being biased. So at the same time of it, we have Indians saying that they're the Negro, and that the Indian is the Negro. But when we look at the understanding of history, the Indian isn't a Jew originally. In my mind, it's the Negro that's the Jew that you have pointed out. When we can trace everything down to how they reformed their Yehuda or different traditions called Judaism today to become the denominations of Presbyterian, Protestant, Pentecost. In those situations, you see the transition in history of this situation going along with the dogmatic religion some people might call it today. But an overall standard of what we're talking about the people. Leave the religion alone for this conversation. This group of people who went through this transformation or reformation in the periods of the 13th, 14th, 15th century in the areas that we would call today Europe or European culture. These are dark-skinned Negroes going through this transition in noble positions. Can I get that link real quick? I want to show you something, Lee. And I'm gonna let everybody tap in again. That's on the stage. Thank everybody that's tapped in with us tonight live. But I want to make sure I ain't the only one seeing what I'm seeing. Because after you showed all the information you showed us, and we go do our research, because we're not supposed to believe nobody, right? We're supposed to read what you gave us and go research. That's what we're supposed to go do. Right. So that's what I do, and that's why I respect you the way I do. Our conversations that we have, because I know I can keep it 100. Yeah, click on that. Take that off. This right here, because of the word more. And I've had people get mad at me about this word more. Even those in today that say that they're Moorish Americans or that they're Moors in America today. That's what they want to self-subscribe as. Just like Indians, just like Africans or African Americans, etc. All these different groups underneath what we call black.
Right. He froze.
All right, y'all hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Again, we in a storm. So it says more, Mormaer. All right. And obviously you cover Scotland, Europe, titles of nobility that is attached to the Scottish, Gaelic, Aramaic, because that's the root of Gaelic, is going to be Aramaic still in this region. And these Scottish people who do have an ancestry tied to what we would call Jews, are in this area. And in the Black Laws Dictionary, 4th edition, the word Moor in the Black Law Dictionary, 4th edition, says that it is a person of a bailiff in the Isles of Man. And you know where the Isles of Man is?
That's
Europe.
Right. That's one of the Scottish Isles.
All right. So now, that's the Black Law Dictionary. I would have pulled it up right now, but I'm moving. You're going to go look it up if you don't believe me. And I'm going to be right. You want to bet. I'm going to be right. So either way, it says Mormaer. It says also spelled Mormaer again from the Gaelic M-O-R, great, M-A-E-R, or M-O-O, or M-A-O-R, steward or bailiff. Ruler of any of the 7 provinces into which Celtic Scotland, i.e. the part of country north of the Forth and the Clyde, was divided. This Celtic title was rendered Jarl by the Norsemen and after the 12th century under Anglo-Norman influence, Earl, the 7, see how it says it? Mayorships, or originally earldoms, for those who might be more familiar with the term earldom. Earl is a rank of nobility of Scotland, where Angus, Athol, and Gory, and all the other terms, but it says Mar. It's there. You know what I mean? This is a title of nobility of dark-skinned people with this lineage that you talk about. So your dukes, your barons, your earls, your knights, your sires, the sir in the name, literally, sire, name, sir, name, crest, name, last name, connected to the crest, titles that those people that might be in those family lines and the positions they played as nobility within what we call Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England, Cornwall, whatever you want to go into. These dark-skinned people will be in this position as a title of nobility that the Moors steward, right? You see how steward? Yeah. King James was a steward, right? That's right. That was his surname. But in this steward, it's spelled Steward. But we know steward spelled Stuart.
But it's
that's the Jacobites.
It's interchangeable though, the D and the T in linguistics.
Yeah.
So steward and steward is the same word. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody, Tecumseh, 90th, is anything you want to say about this? What you see here? Give y'all a chance to tap in.
No, you were on point going into the Jacobites. You're right.
You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. So everybody can get a clear picture where we're going with this. We'll make sure everybody sees it. We did real research. We went and found the term that's connected to the Moor, who's dark skinned, and this is the titles of their chiefdoms, fiefdoms, and whatever we want to call it. And as you see in the Black Law Dictionary, if anybody's looking it up for all. We need a joint for this one.
That's all right.
I'm sorry about this. My bad, y'all.
Hey, you had a storm,
like I said,
right? It's a storm, and then you can
it's
do
a storm.
about it.
Can't do nothing about this. I'm trying my best. Either way, as it come across in this conversation I'm bringing, and I'm presenting with a source for people to see that these are nobility positions, generally speaking, of dark-skinned people, and this is the term that Moors in Europe that came across the waters as lord proprietors, dukes,
that's right,
duchess, barons, etc., of that nobility family lineage. Do you disagree with that?
No, and basically what it is, what does it tell you about the United States? It basically tells you that all these blacks that are singing these songs about being kings and queens and princesses, that's their blood speaking out, because this is a colony full of ancient royalty. We're the seeds of the royals of Europe, the black royalty of Europe. This is a prison colony for the royal seed. I'm in agreement, but we also have to take into account that the indigenous people were already here when we got here. Now we know that the black Moors or the black indigenous people were here because one thing they refuse to do in these institutions is teach from the original charters. The charters. Right. Those original charters is what King James and his sons begin to describe their interaction with the original natives. And they were here. We bought land from them. It was no this story that the white man writes in his history books. We came, they came, they saw, and they conquered, and they enslaved. That is not what the black Europeans did. The black Europeans came down, bought land, they married, they gave their sons to the indigenous people, and the indigenous people gave their daughters to us, and we became one people through marriage. That's the reason why you can't make a determination between the Indian and the Hebrew Israelite, because we have become one through marriage and offspring. These are the facts.
You just said something that's really what I'm glad you said it the way you said it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Paul, I'm being paranoid now. The whole fact of the matter is you said marriage, which I guess for those who might not know what that means, miscegnation, MISCEG nation. You know what I mean? That's how I'm gonna say it real quick. The miscegnation, which is the mixture of these two different groups of people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Two different groups of people, but they're both dark-skinned people.
We looked alike, but because we looked alike, it's just like when the Israelites came out of the North Atlantic slave trade. Well, on that ship was the Hamites, or what you call Africans, the African Hamite and the African Hebrew. They couldn't tell us. Well, they couldn't tell the difference, but I can tell the difference.
Well, you know what? Guess what? Funny enough, since you said that, and I'm glad you said it that way. In the 15th century, Portugal and Spain definitely knew the difference of who they brought off them ships. They would call it African, and the term that I found is Ladino and Bozals. The Bozal is the Hamite because he don't have no education of the Abrahamic religions, laws, jurisdiction-wise education. You know what I mean? He's not the dark-skinned European culture. He has no connection to it. Unless he married in, like how they married over here the same way, right?
Right.
But that's a whole nother thing. See, this is another conversation that would take us down. People don't understand. I want to pull up something that I showed you with that list and how you brought up.
Before you move on, I'd like to interject this for the indigenous people that are listening, and for the indigenous people who know that the white Indian is a fraud, and you see that there was no such thing as a white Indian before I think the 1780 or the 1790 census. I think they had that poll tax where you could pay, was it $5 or $25?
Yep.
You could declare yourself an Indian. Whites could do that, and then they could what? They could take the land. This is why we see white Indians on Indian reservations dating back to 1790. And it's a farce, man.
I'm glad you said 1790 as a marker too. That's how I know you're doing research.
Yeah, man, it's a farce.
I'm glad you're doing research. But this is what I want to put out too.
Yeah.
Dealing with what you showed me. You showed me something. I want to show you something real quick. And Nine Ether and Tecumseh, this is where we've been building, and that's why I wanted them to be on the show so they can ask any questions or add on to this part. We've been all researching this part of this information that we want to talk to you about live. Pull up. We're gonna pull up. Here's the source. Now, we found this. If I'm gonna say it like that, we found this. And it says the descendant line from King David of Israel to King George III of Britain. You know what I mean? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Am I out of there?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if the other can you hear
you
me?
loud and clear. You loud and clear.
Yep.
Yeah, that storm must be bad.
Either way, you feel me? They gonna get this work. Storm ain't gonna stop this. You feel me? Ain't no storm god. There ain't no storm god stopping this situation. But y'all know that out there for this. So now, this link, you see it says descendant line from King David of Israel to King George III of Britain. Now, King George III is a German.
There you go. Good shot.
All right.
Yeah.
And in the dude's video that I played a little earlier, he said German to Portugal. You know what I mean? If you notice what I said, that's why I pay attention. I said, pay attention how he's going to start this video off and say the crest and everything is dealing with Portugal, and he also mentioned Germany in the same line. You know what I mean? And,
right.
But then this particular, when I was just, we like we said, I'm digging off your shit. I'm being honest. I want you to tell me what you think. You know what I mean? That it says that this line, this ascendant line from King David of Israel to King George III of Britain. Now, I want to come down a little bit. Slide up real quick. Let me get this list of these folk. Everybody can take their time. We're going to stop at a person. Keep going. Slowly let them see it. Let them see it. We want everybody to capture what it is so they can go back and see the list. Look at the numbers. We ain't got time to go through all of them. Stop. This guy, Yeshua, 8th elixir of Peleus. Pay attention to him. I want to make sure I catch you later. Keep going. Just throw them out there. Yeah, 8th elixir. That word, that's why I stopped because of that word, elixir. These are the people that are the heads after the second temple of the Israelites that are now the heads of the people that have been exiled. They still knew that these people had heads, like they had, like how you have Negro heads in America with the census. You had Exar heads that were the patriarchal heads of these people that got exiled. Do you disagree with that based off of these people in that time frame? Okay, slide down.
Yeah.
I want to get to the person. I want you to show. I'm gonna show you something right now. I'm gonna show you something. Keep going. You can slide. Show them all them people. Right. Keep going. You know what I mean? Mar, you see that word Mar there? Pay attention to that word Mar in front of his name. Mar again is used in front of his name. Mar again is used in front of his name. See that word Mar right there? 58. Nazis being used. Just getting down. It's a long list. It's a long list. Stop right there. Now, 78. Now, you see 77 say David.
Right.
But then on 78, it says, excuse me, y'all. 77 say David, but 78 says Haya al-Dawadi. This is 1154 AD. Is it in the service of King Alfonso I of Portugal? When I brought up the Portugal situation earlier from the video dude played, you know what I'm saying? In Germany. I want everybody to make sure everybody with me on this. So when I'm stopping to make sure, I'm show you this list. It's 99 people on this list. They say are all connected to David based off of the source that they're presenting to us, because it's not my source. Right. However the case might be, what I do know for facts is that this list from 78, because I don't know all the religious stuff, people don't believe in religion, right? I can't go back before 78 historically and say I got a direct line to tell you myself I'm right. But what I am right about is that from 78 to 79, that person called Yaish, his name is Yahya Ibn Yaish. Number 80, Yahya Hanasi, and it says made Lord of Aldea dos Negros by the King of Portugal, thus was called Don Yahya El Negro. Lee Cummings, from your understanding of this list and what you understand about history, and this is obviously before the 13th colony, this is before European situations.
This is for us. This is Hebrew.
They're going to get this work.
Look at
play around.
Like number 78 says, Haya al, that is David.
Dawad. That's David.
Dawad is David in Hebrew. Now, Brother is Ahaya, but if it says Heya, that means life. Al means two, so it means life two, or the brother of David, or Dawad. Now 79 says Yish. Yish means what? It means man in Hebrew. And Yish would have just been spelled YSH. They put the A and the I in there. These are Aramaic translations here. And but to validate the information, we would have to go back and look at the source, run the source down to see. But we never looked at. There might be an issue with King George, because remember, King James was a Jacobite, and
right.
And one of the ship's manifest that's in part 6, the Negro Question part 6, shows that the Jacobites were black people, black princes and noblemen that came into the 13 colonies in 1715 and in 1745. We were the first. The Negro Question is the first book series to present a spreadsheet, a ship's manifest that gives an itemized description of these black royals, the seed of King James coming into the 13 colonies. Now, the 13 colonies rebelled against King George, and right. they rebelled because they said he was not one of their brothers. So the lineage didn't go through George. The lineage from David went through who? King James. It is written of King James in the histories of the Britain that he was the second Solomon.
All right, so check this out.
Yeah.
Now, in this list, I'm just presenting it. I wanted to have a conversational piece for what I know you be researching, right?
Yeah. Y'all here.
I'm tripping, man. I apologize, y'all.
Hey, this never happened before.
I mean, I've been the last 2 weeks. We've been in this storm shit. It's been messing us up internet-wise because I know my shit internet.
You're not bigger
I don't know. We're gonna be all right though. Now slide down though, God. We're gonna move fast because we can get people. Cause I don't know when I might get cut out, so I can get to them being able to ask their questions just in case. All these other people now, Anna, Bohemia, all these names in 87 coming down. We're gonna get down. Go down. Slide down. William V. Keep going. Brunswick, Brunswick, Georgia. Right. Boom. Number 99. Number 99. It says King George III, King of Britain, America, etc. 99th generation counting. King David of Israel at the first generation, nearly 3,000 years. I thought that was interesting.
Hey, brother speaker, that's what they say in the church. Point to the speaker. But brother moderator, brother speaker, King George was the king of England. He was never he was never recognized by the Brits as being king of Britain because remember, King James unified the two kingdoms. King James was King James VI of Scotland, and then after he unified Scotland and England, he became King James I of England. This is the reason why the white folks in this country never mentioned that his lineage can be traced back to the Scots because they know that all the information on the Scots was that they were a black race of people. So to condense my little story, King George was never recognized as king of Britain. This is the reason why the 13 colonies rebelled against him. And also, you got to remember the Treaty of Paris in 1763. The Treaty of Paris, he relinquishes all rights to the 13 colonies. So by this time, all the black Brits are where? They in the 13 colonies. Man, it's been a relocation. So he may have been crowned King of England, Britain, and Scotland, but he was not recognized by the black
by the people
because he was what? He was of German descent, and it appears that he wasn't in Israel. He was not a Jacobite.
So from my studies, he's connected to that lineage, but he's not connected to it from the patriarch. Like he's connected via James I, but his lineage comes through Elizabeth. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
the patriarch would went. the crown would have went to Charles.
Yeah, well, see, George was a German. He was a German Hanover king, and so was Sophia. So King George and Sophia were black German Hanovers. They did not come through the lineage, like the brother said. It was King James, King Charles I, who was beheaded because he married the Catholic princess, I think, from either Spain or France. Then King Charles II, and then it was King James II, the Duke of York. So when you get the Georges, that's another line altogether. They were not Jacobites. The Jacobites were what? Were the Scots, the Brits, the Welsh, and the Irish. But I would have to say, I have to catch myself and say that some Germans fought on the side of the Jacobites. So I'm gonna have to go with that. But the mere fact that they rebelled against George, and there's some documentation where they quoted a scripture from Deuteronomy that said that your brother that rules over you, he has to be a brother from the midst of you. And they quoted that in their rebellion, alluding to the fact that this dude was not one of the guys.
So if I can ask you a question to that real quick, if you don't mind. What do you understand the connection between the Jacobites and Protestantism?
Could you condense your question?
Is there a connection to the Jacobites and Protestants specifically?
Well, the Jacobites were the original Protestants, because remember, the original church in England, in Europe at that time, was who? The Anglican Church, of which King James was a member. It was founded, if I'm not mistaken, it was founded by Henry VIII, and King James was raised in that church. His mother, Elizabeth, was an Anglican, and you go back and read the book that he wrote, The Divine Right of Kings, and then the Book of Sports that King Charles I wrote, and and let me back up for a second. If you go back and read the original 1611 King James Version of the Bible, in the introduction, you can see where they put a hit out on the Pope and all his archdukes and his bishops. They was at war with that church. And you can find that in the original 1609, 1611 Bibles, the introduction. Big Mama them, your Big Mama, man, them Bibles that they used to have had that. But in the recent editions, they have taken that introduction out of all the Bibles. And King James, in the Divine Right of Kings, he says that he was never a Catholic and that the Pope was the Antichrist. These were his words. So yes, the answer, I know that's a long response, right? But to answer your question, the Jacobites were the original Protestants.
So in essence, I was really asking that to bring to the point, like, I wouldn't see the Germans being so much different or disconnected to that, being that Germania was the home of the Protestants. You see what I'm saying? Protestantism.
I don't have a problem with that, because your point is valid, because you had Martin Luther. He was a black German, and he protested against the infallibility of the Pope. So I have to agree with you. But the only thing,
wait, Lee.
Yeah.
Lee, you just said, make sure you understand. I want people to hear that again. That Martin Luther, the original Protestant Martin Luther, you're saying is a black man.
Look, because all those, these are the facts. That's the reason the Europeans went on a excavate. They excavated. It was a countrywide excavation in England and Britain. They was going around digging up all the bodies of the royals, and they put them down in the British Museum. They got about 20 to 40,000 corpses in the British Museum. You know why? They're trying to hide the evidence. Them all black folks, man. All them kings and princes, the noblemen, the princesses. But but going back to the brother's statement, and it's very informed, and you're right. You're right on both occasions. But there's only one issue I have with I call them the Georges. There's only one issue I have with them, and it's the declaration that the people in the 13 colonies made a comment that he was not their brother. So we also have documentation in that book, the 13 Black colonies, that shows that the Scots wore fringes. Nobody wore fringes but Israel and the indigenous people. Did y'all catch that? And we know that the indigenous people, excuse me, we know that the indigenous people spoke Aramaic because one of their songs was "Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya."
You always like to do that.
Aramaic,
you always like to do that. Look, wait, hold on, wait a second.
Not to catch that. So
I gotta catch you though. Wait, Lee, wait a second. See,
go
Lee,
ahead.
I got something for you for that.
Go ahead.
I know you always go to that part. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Pull up the link real quick. No, pull up the actual source first, because he said that. I want to go with the source, then we're gonna play the video. You know what I mean? Let's show the source first. Information first.
He was waiting on this guy.
No, information first. We go do the video after the information for this part. Because how you just let it's a perfect punchline. Like how you said the punchline. Hey, you know, the this right here. Slide over. Ooh, slide it over for everybody to see. This website, what's the website again? Let everybody know the website. This is from the Park Ethnography Program, you know what I'm saying? Park MPS.org, basically. You know what I'm saying? National Park Services.org. Now, African Explorers of Spanish America. See, I agree with everything you're saying about the whole Aramaic, but there's a word that you're going to see right here, which is the foundation of the language right here, the script. It's right here. It says the first Africans from Spain were known as Ladinos. Ladinos. You heard me?
Yeah, but
pause again. Huh?
But the mere fact that they say, "Are you still there?" Oh, wait a minute.
You might as well pause. Yeah, they might pause for the moment.
Now check this out.
Yeah,
they say the first Africans from Spain. That's a lie, because the Spaniards were black. So
sound crazy. Yeah, of course it sounds crazy.
So when the whites try to cover up history, they say, "Well, them blacks in Spain were from Africa." That's a lie, because you had blacks in Mesopotamia, you had blacks in Asia. Benjamin Franklin, his essay 1751. All of Asia was black. All of Africa was black. All of Spain, Portugal, Italy, Russia, Germany, it was all black. So this right here is a lie. They weren't Africans that was in Spain. They were black Spaniards that was born in Spain.
That's what I want you to say. See, I want you to get to the point, because you're on point, based off the fact that the language of the Ladino is basically what they call Latino, Latin America, European, and they were just dark-skinned people from that area. And that's where they were from. They weren't Africans at all. They were goddamn, like you said, Portuguese, black people speaking that language.
And then check this out. Now I want y'all to hear this. The first Latino king was a black Trojan. They were descended from Troas, Troas, or Troy. They went up into Italy, and the first Latin king was a king from Troy. His name was Latinus, and guess what he was? He was a Hebrew. That's documented world history.
This is my thing though, Lee, because you covered Negro questions. So the question that I think a lot of people are asking, based off the indigenous side of the things, is, I've heard a lot of indigenous people say that the Indian is the Negro. But when we get to technicalities of it, you see me show you the list with dude Yaya El Negro, and there's other people on the list named Negroes too. And that's in the 11th century. And if people want to go with the understanding that America wasn't colonized by Europeans,
Right.
who you just pointed out in your books that are dark-skinned people.
Right. Man, there must be a real bad storm out in Florida. Or they jamming him on purpose. You know that? The establishment. You know?
He's been going through that for like a week now.
Yeah, he might be getting jammed by the establishment.
It's crazy when you put out this kind of conversation, right?
Yeah.
Hey, where I was at though is that these people are the first Negro. The Negro, as I pointed out earlier in the source before, is the Jew. You see what I'm saying? That Yahya, because his whole background and all the people you break down in your books who go through, you said Martin Luther, that's Protestants. They're the first ones to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, it's a lot of stuff going on. And I think that, you know, when we look at these black Europeans, they still are the Negro before the Indian who mixed with them become called the Negro. And I got some Virginia records that I wanted to present tonight in the second half of our conversation. But I wanted to get past the first part because I know I got to give credit where it's due. And like I said, you know what I mean? And the Black 13 Colonies. I'm not being biased. This is your book.
Yeah, but the brother
right?
the brother that brought up the information on King George, he's on point. He's on point. But the only thing I say, brother, I can't kick against you because you're on point. Your information is real, and it's the truth. The only thing I say is, if King George was a Hebrew, then the 13 colonies would not have rebelled. They rebelled because they said that he was not one of them. So you got to also understand that lineage that came out of Germany. But I have to get it. Who was the brother? What's the brother's name that brought that up?
Tecumseh.
Brother Tecumseh. I'm gonna have to. You know what, man? I'm gonna have to lean with you, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I think one of the stewards married one of the Georges was married to one of the stewards on the mother's side.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
But the problem was the script said every seed after its own kind. So the brothers was following the lineage through what? Through the male
religion, men, patriarchal shit.
You know, part of the issue too there is because of his mother. A lot of people don't speak of who his mother was. She was of the line of Saxe-Gotha. If you look deeper into that.
Okay, what country?
Saxe-Gotha, when you look at it, they're going to be Germanic when you look at the history of it.
You see what I'm saying? So the Stuarts were what? They're from the Highlands of Scotland, and that lineage, that line was maintained from James to Charles I, Charles II. So the line got broken after the Duke of York. And here comes and check this out, and then we'll get a floor back to the moderator. That means that you didn't have a white king sitting on the throne of England until 1900. That's only 123 years ago, because the last George, descendant of King George, died that was sitting on the throne in 1900 or 1901. The white kings of England have only been sitting on that throne for 123 years. So from King James I to the Duke of York, those were all Scottish kings, and the Georges, King George I, II, III, IV, to 200, 1000, they were all German kings. And now you got these whites that are sitting on the throne in Europe, lying to the world and running around talking about they royal. Ain't nothing royal about them. They can't trace their lineage back to none of the royal seed. It's like you find a mutt in the yard and you put a gold collar around his neck, and then you go write up some paperwork and say, hey, he's a pedigree. No, man, they are not pedigrees. You and
I'm
I,
glad you said that.
we are the pedigrees, but we
I'm
don't
glad you
know
said that.
that our last names can be found on the medieval maps of Europe. So they assumed our identity. They took our last name, they took our lands, they took our wealth. They did it in Europe, and then the Africans, the Hamites, down in West Africa, did the same thing to the kingdom of Judah that's on the coast of West Africa. They took everything. See, people think we're poor.
1492.
Black people are not poor. Everybody got our wealth.
1492.
So that's all I got.
The Songhai, when you said that, I can alley you. The Hamites, as you pointed out, and some might use the religious terms as Muslims and different situations, but the African nations that would be considered Hamites in the 15th century, or I'm gonna say 1492, particularly with the debates that's going on, we got a document, with the Songhai Empire, being kicked out and conquered in 1492.
Ghana, Mali, and Songhai were Hebrews.
Right.
All
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's in 1492. And some people don't understand that part and what it means to the world politically today, and why people are trying to fight so hard to understand that, some of your people that did come across the water and mixed in with what we call the Indian, that Jew with their mixtures over there before they even came across the water in 15th century.
In fact, they got evidence in Timbuktu. The king of Timbuktu issued a law that no Jew. Timbuktu was two cities. The inner city, the inner court, or the inner city was for Muslims. The outer court, or the outer city, part of the city, was for the Jews. He issued a declaration that unless the Jews converted to Islam, they were to be put out of the country. So that let you know that the Hebrews were there. And they found manuscripts all over West Africa.
Exactly.
So, go ahead, sir.
Since you you want point. Pull up the next joint, real God green. Next source, so we can all flow. Ether, is anything you want to say before we slide to the next joint? You've been quiet and make sure you do. Anything you want to say?
No, they on point, especially with James I, Stuart King of Great Britain, having some line to George, but being illegitimate somewhere through Elizabeth, the Princess of Great Britain. So that whole line, like, it is, I could see them saying, hey, he's not kin, because there's something coming in that wasn't established prior to James I. So you cooking on
the same page. But we're on the same page about all these people being what we call black or Negro prior to any
factual
indigenous connection to anything. Period.
On all sides. On the side coming in as kings, on the side coming in as stewards, on the side coming in as knights, as the Portugal's knights coming in the 15. Yeah, or slaves. But a lot of these knights coming in the 1500s, that whole 100-year gap of English coming in, the Portugal knights and the Spaniard knights and Santiago, all that is playing the drum up.
Listen, hey, Lee, man, we're going to have to do back up on this one right here, because me and Nine got something. And Tecumseh too, by the way, on the Santiago term. You familiar with that word Santiago meaning James, right? Jacob.
Same shit. You don't see that on none of his effigies or none of his portrayals. He just he just calls himself Jacobite.
Right. But they have a Spanish term called the Order of Santiago, which is correlated to the Order of St. James.
I'm not familiar with that.
You're not? Okay, pull up real quick. Let's give everybody that, for everybody that might not know about the Order of Santiago. You know what I'm saying? No. Don't give them that. We're going to do that next, because it's going to connect to the Order of Santiago. Well, give me the Order of Santiago.
Which is the Order of St. James the Greater.
Which is the Order of St. James the Greater. You need people to understand this thing. 15th century. They call it the Order of Santiago. The St. James Way. They have a path during the time frame of 12th century going into 1492, and how these people that were of these military orders dealing with the conquest of these lands against the Muslims, who were also being labeled as Moors. But these particular people who are fighting against them, there's a St. James Way. And the order is called the Order of Santiago. And as it says, Order of Santiago, Spanish. And then it says Christian military religious order of knights founded in 1160 in Spain for the purpose of fighting Spanish Muslims and protecting the pilgrims on their way to the shrine of Santiago de Compostela. That de Compostela is what I'm calling in English the St. James Way. You know what I mean? And that's why we also brought up King Alfonso I earlier, because what he did with Yahya and his family lineage, who were knights of this order, by the way. But at the same time, it says in 1174, King Alfonso, what's that? That's the eighth, right? Okay, that's the eighth. That's obviously 7 after the first, right? Of Yahya. 7 generations of Alfonsos in Portugal. Coming out of Yahya, who we showed you earlier in that list, who was of an exile name, Yahya ibn Yaish, Yahya el Negro. You said already, these are dark-skinned people. It says, but in 1174, King Alfonso VIII of Castile gave the knights the town of Usis, where the central monastery was established. By 1493, the Order of Santiago had nearly 700,000 members, an annual income of 60,000 ducats in that year of the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand II and Isabella I. This is around the time when the Jews are being expelled, by the way.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure I put that out there. We found
those nations got flipped by the Vatican.
Exactly.
That's why they put the Hebrews out, because the Hebrews said, "Hey, wait a minute, y'all not keeping the law."
Technically, we'd be Jews. The Order of Santiago, the crypto Jews.
They got flipped.
Yeah. What'd you say, Nan, about that? Because I know you've been researching this. Tecumseh too. What y'all think about this? Am I tripping? If I'm tripping live, let me know.
And one of the brothers chime in.
I would say the expulsion itself. Which expulsion are we even referring to? Because there's
1492.
Okay.
1492. But to be particular, with the Order of Santiago in that time frame, with 700,000 members connected to it, and they're basically knights of this order of Portugal underneath the king. But at the same time, hey, people are getting kicked out.
Well, you go
Order of Santiago.
Yeah, through that order, when you go into his family, Yahya, that's why, for one, when you put up Yahya and the order started in what you said, 1160, right? He becomes a knight of the Order of Santiago, protecting St. James Way. His father is actually the minister of Templar lands under the same king and under King John II. So he's the minister of the lands. This is all El Negros peoples. So Yahya's pop is the minister. Now, if you think about 300 years later, when they finally get here, the Order of Santiago, which makes sense what Lee said, they're under the monarch, because what did I point out to you? The Order of Santiago got disbanded almost, and there was no more Grand Masters after 1493. So after they lose all that stronghold, because we know that his family, if you look at number 14 on that list, he's one of the ones that they say was enticing the Marranos to relapse to Judaism. That's just basically saying having the blacks that were under the Christian doctrine, he's getting kicked out of, 1476, when the ancestor, number 14, pull up number 14 on that list.
Go back to that list again then.
One of them is, we got one of them that's getting kicked out for inciting the so-called Marranos to indulge. It's 2 of them. Well, Joseph Ibn Yahya in 1425.
Wait, 9. Are we talking about the list that I presented that was connected to King George III and Yahya, or do you want me to put up the list?
Just Yahya, but just the JewishEncyclopedia.com. We want to stay with their source, because that's their source. We're going to stay in the JewishEncyclopedia.com, because you can't hide these people in there.
Yeah, hold on. We're gonna do exactly what you just said. Hold on.
So it's definitely number 14. And I got it right here. It says David Ibn Yahya bin Solomon.
Hold on, let me get the Jewish encyclopedia up for everybody so they know we ain't tripping.
Yeah, pull that joint up. But it says he was a rabbi in a community. In 1476, he was accused of inducing the Marranos to relapse into Judaism. He was sentenced by King Joah II, which is King John, to be burned at the stakes. He fled Naples with his family, but was captured, and he was compelled to sell his library. That family library, the Yahya El Negro family library, because this is 300 years after Yahya is one of the first knights in the Order of Santiago. This is about 20 years before it's going to be disbanded forever. So now this individual is big. He's into writing most of the Hebrew histories that is attached to his family, but he's being expelled for so-called inducing the Marranos under the Christian faith right before 1492 to relapse into the Hebrew faith that they are so known to. Now that order gets, like I said, disbanded in 1493, and from there you see that the people, the last Grand Master of that order, his family starts to be the ones that are supposedly looking for the 7 cities of gold and find the Grand Canyon and set up 7 ports of Santiago, which is the 7 ports of St. James throughout the Caribbean, starting in Jamaica, Cuba, Brazil, Peru. One in San Diego is Santiago. So they set up 7 port cities, but they were supposedly looking for 7 cities of gold.
Mm.
And that's all from this order of the St. James Way. Now, we know the order of St. James Way was supposedly to protect the pilgrimage back and forth to the Holy Land. Now, there's all type of Masonic orders and ecclesiastical orders know that that way is longer than what we think it is. It's the way all the way over here because they are the first ones hiding, like Lee said, under the Catholic Church. They're hiding under the Catholic Church, under the colonizers that come in 1509 and 1506. So they're stewards, they're middlemen losing dominion, and where they're going to run to? They're going to run and be the first conquistadors and be stewards of that conquistadors coming in. Little men, minors, to the king.
Nah, hold on real quick. Hold on, now. So everybody can catch it. This is Jewish Encyclopedia. Go to the top. Everybody know what we're looking at. It's not our source because we don't control their encyclopedia. So, Yahya, Yahya, and the first person on the list is Yahya Ibn Yaish. From the source we showed you earlier, that is said to be related to King George III. And as the Tecumseh broke down, and it said, okay, because of the female patriarchal recognitions of things in religion, whatever. Boom. However, this person, Yahya Ibn Aish, and I always point this out. Can you go down a little bit? Show some other people on the list.
The name means the son of Yish or the son of man, because
son of man.
Ibn is bone, and Yish, man, the son of man.
That's what I'm talking about. So Yahya. Now look, Pete Gang now, Lee, check this out. Now you see, no, don't go over. Let his name be seen though, because we got to go back to him. Because you see in the list, what I want to point out is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. David Ibn Yahya Negro bin Jadalia. Before we even get to 9, Ethan want me to get to on this list, right? 9 is a certain person on this list he wanted me to pull up because you asked me to pull up the source. You know I got it. You know what I mean? I ain't shit. They sleeping.
Definitely.
Either way, this now look, Pete Gang, it say number 6, but number 7 it says Judah Ibn Yahya Negro Ben David. Now,
do you know what he did? Hold on. Do you know what he's saying? That's Aramaic. It's been translated from Aramaic. He's giving it as that number 7. He's giving his lineage. He's saying Judah, Ibn, which is B-A-N-A, means bone or son. Son of who? Son of Negro, the black. Bone, B-A-N-A again, where it says Ben, that's Bone, which is son of Gedaliah. And if you come down to 7, it says Judah, Iban, Bone, or son, Yahya, Negro, Bone, or son of David. He's given. It's actually like a condensed chronicles.
Facts. Yeah, he's right, because they wrote extensively. And if you look at the whole line and you research the line, they keep getting chased from the expulsion of the Templars to there. Yeah,
he's giving his link. The dude is giving it. It is slick, but because if you don't know that Iban, there should be no I there. B-A-N-A is son in Aramaic. David, the son of Yahya, Negro, the black. Bone, Ben is Bone, son, Gedaliah. These dudes are giving their lineage. It's coming down. This is like a Chronicles. Beginning.
All right, go to number 1.
Yeah, beginning from the top to the bottom. It's a Chronicles.
Go to number 1. Click on his name. Click on number 1's name, so we can get some context. It says flourished in Lisbon in the 11th century, died about 1150. He was held in high esteem among the Jews, and King Alfonso I honored him for his courage. After the conquest of Santiago, the king presented him with 2 country houses that had belonged to the Moors. This is talking about the Muslims. Wherefore, he assumed the name Negro.
How can you assume the name Negro if you black?
Pecan. I'm just showing you how you.
What I just said.
Yeah. They try. You know they're gonna try to spin it.
People trying to spin it though. I'm glad you said that, Lee. No, but Lee, this is what the problem is. We got people trying to tell us that this person that's being labeled a Negro, and he's like you saw the list. We showed you the list first.
Right.
But when we clicked on his first name, the first person in that lineage, he's the one that's given the lordship of a whole village called Negro.
Right.
In Lisbon.
But look at the date. The date is 1150 AD, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the Latin Vulgate was written in 380 AD, almost 1,000 years before this Chronicles. The word Solomon is described as a negretta, which means black. That's 380 AD. That's 800 years before this document was published. So the word Negro simply means what? Black. So how can you give a black man the title of his color?
It's very interesting, but
and the fact that bloodline hid under the Jew called Negrillo. Remember, I brought that up. Exactly. So it's all the same, because they had to hide at one point when he left Jerusalem to come in before Yahya was crowned anything. And they were hiding under Negrillo and the Negrillo family, who were also treasurers of the kings.
He was black.
Right. Now.
Hey, hold on, before you take the floor back. Just like there was a prophet in the book of Acts by the name of what? Niger. But Niger is what? Negro. And if you go to Luke, the 3rd chapter, you go to Luke, the 3rd chapter, and read the 6th verse, one of Yeshua / Jesus descendants was called Nega, N-A-G-A. Same word, same for Negro. So this ain't nothing new. They would have you, because they would try, they want to pawn themselves off as our teachers. So they springing this shit like, excuse my language, like it's new. No, man. Negro, there was a Roman Caesar by the name Negro.
That part.
Or Niger. And his coin sold for something like $250,000 to $300,000. This is a scam, man. And pardon me, guys, for my profanity. I've never
No, don't do that. Don't worry about that. Don't apologize for nothing on our show. You can do that for other people. You don't gotta do that around us. Check this out, though. I cuss like a sailor at certain points.
Okay.
I'm a professional in my ways too, but in this manner of being, I gotta get this to him raw. And this is how we're gonna give it to him naturally. We want people to know that we being genuine, and the truth is genuine. It's gonna come out how it's gonna come out. The source is gonna back it up. And I think you're a professional person, like you said, based off of all the information in the series of the Negro question. And you're dealing with the word Negro question. So if I see the word Negro attached to a person, I'm expecting you, in a specialist standpoint, to be able to tell me, is this supposed to be a white man? You feel me?
Yeah, man.
In this context.
It's a scale. It's a scale. It's just like you look at number 2. It says Joseph, Abona, the son of Yahah. K means the in Hebrew. Zakana. What's a Zakana? Zakana is what? The elder. That's why when you look at number 3, it says the same thing. So they give it a lineage, and then they let people. You know, yeah, they said the elder. He was the son of the elder.
We're done with this. So check this out. We're gonna. I'm glad to see all that.
And they trace their line back to David. So
yeah, we can't even let them see no more of that. Because see, people have been saying shit though. Wait, Lee.
That translation is pure Aramaic. It's from pure Aramaic, man.
That's why I brought you on for this part. Because pull up 9. You know what I'm saying? No, 9. That's why me and you and Tecumseh, y'all witnesses. You feel me? And you see how we just had this conversation with Lee tonight, and he can look at it for the first time and the things that we've been saying, and we're like, how can somebody that, even if you know you're indigenous, and we show the indigenous person, obviously in the beginning, bigging up Lee Cummings' books, you know what I mean, about the 13 black colonies who are Negroes. You know what I'm saying? So how is it when we get to the conversation of how the Indian became a Negro? It's because
he was born a Negro. He can't become. How can you become black unless you get a tan?
This is why
Indian was misclassified as
this is why it was easy to mix in. You have the same color people coming together.
Right.
So it's a dominion that we think, because of colonial education, that we weren't seafarers and doing this thing on the world stage. So that indoctrination got people spelled. They're in a spell. But if you look at those, like when he said Yahya was given dominion over the Moors, because he's fighting Moors. So you got Muslim, Mohammedan black Moors fighting Hebrew black Hebrews. They're fighting at this time in the 10, because if you look at Yahya's expeditions into Africa later on, that whole thing that's called a Negro land was his dominion, and his ancestors are sprinkled all through there.
Right.
So my bad, y'all.
I go with that. I go with
that.
My
bad, y'all.
Yeah,
I want to get this in.
Go ahead.
My timing wise, y'all, with y'all. Hey, for the night, I appreciate y'all timing on patience with us. Got a green. Pull up the next joint real quick, because this is all correlating as I try to walk. Unless it's messing with our timing, but in this live show, if this is raw with it. We being raw with it with this conversation right now. You know what I mean? This is a live conversation. So, United States of Mestizos. You know what I'm saying? And this is from the National Endowment for Humanities. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to present this source, because these people, as we just broke down, like Yahya and them, are connected to the people called Lasando or Lacondo, and that lineage of people that would also be crypto Jews, Moranos, and they're coming into America speaking Ladino. And when they mix in with the Mayan, the Olmec, the Aztec, the Toltec, they're actually now creating, with the Spanish Empire, the New Spain, a term that United States happens to know, very familiar with, called mestizo, way before you get the term called mulatto. And that this mestizo is going to correlate to the Ladino people, first blacks coming over, mixing in with these people and these empires. And that its information is, they're available on the National Endowment for Humanities website. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to let you know all that. Mestizos, meaning mixed. And this mixture they're talking about is basically what I'm even though they try to whitewash it, what Lee Cummings has showed, not only with the 13 colonies, we're going back now even to the 14th century, Portugal and Spain coming to America with that Yahya lineage that we just got through talking about. That this is who came, that were thrown out of those areas. They're called Lacondos. The language they were speaking was Ladino. But the script is Aramaic, with some Greek and some Arabic too mixed in. Interesting enough. Ladino. And this mestizo term is mulatto, muscago, mestesti, and what's the other terms we got? You know what I mean? A whole bunch. Zambo, Sambo, Pardo. You know what I mean? I can go. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different variations of this term based off of where your people were located in these regions. But either way, you know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that you, if you haven't had a chance, go to the National Endowment for Humanities website.org, and they have this information.
Let me ask you a question. But
yeah,
but these people were already there.
Yes, sir.
The blacks were already there.
Yes, sir.
Facts.
See, because you have to understand, Benjamin Franklin's essay, 1751, he said all of America was black. All of the Americas, they was already there. So the question is, when did the Anglo-Saxons, the adjective, / whites, when did they get there? They came after. They came around right around the 1870s, 1880s. They started making their way through the Americas
during the Homestead Act.
Because remember, 1884. You go back and read the writings of Professor Boyd Dawkins. He gives you a timeline for when the black nations in Europe begin to fall. Right around 1865, 1884, France fell, Spain fell. Talks about Russia and Germany, and then you get that part of history that the whites teach us about that great migration of whites into the Americas. That must have happened all over America, all over the Americas, and not just America. Because remember, the conquistadors were what? They were black.
Right.
The slaves.
That's what I'm trying to tell people. It was
and the Scottish.
Hold up. And
the Scottish Civil War is simultaneously with the Indian removal. 1830s, prior to this problem.
Saying?
So that whole Civil War, where they say everything was burnt in Scotland and Ireland, it is simultaneously with Indian removal. And like Lee said, at 1860s and 70s, with those naturalization acts that they were creating, they're getting their workforce to replace the people that they usurped. So they're getting them workforce right then and there in the 1865 to 1880 through the naturalization acts and those homestead acts that we couldn't participate in until we became so-called a 14th Amendment citizen. And by then they gave out close to 20 million acres. You ain't getting nothing. Red tape, crazy.
Right.
Go by the wayside.
And then wait a minute, and you still got the floor because you kicking some real good stuff. But if you go back and look at the history books, the whites re-engineered the history books to make us think that they were the slave masters, when in fact
they were working in plantations.
The slave masters was the black French, the black Portuguese, and the black
Dutch.
It was not based on what? And this was another
color.
The second part of the game was it was based on skin color. No, it was not. It was based on religion.
Mm-hmm.
If you wasn't a Catholic, you could be enslaved.
Period.
That's factual.
Period.
That's the scam they ran.
Factual.
So they tried. So then to reinforce the scam, they put it in the history books. Because when I was a shorty, I'm 8, 9 years old, walking down. So I'll never forget. I said, "How can these people enslave us when we're stronger than them?" I always asked myself that as a child. And now that I've become a full-grown man, I did say full-grown man. And now I'm able to look at the information myself, and it took years to put this thing together. Now we see it was all it was reverse psychology. They have something, I'm going to stop talking. They have something called the Reconstruction period. You know what I always say? Mm-hmm. The Reconstruction of white America was the what? The deconstruction of the so-called Negro's brain.
Factual.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is. And so what are we all doing? All of us. You are Moor. You an indigenous person. You a Hebrew Israelite. You a Muslim. what are we doing? We're trying to reconstruct the Negro's brain because it was destroyed. And that's all we're doing. We're trying to reconstruct our brothers and sisters' brain and put that bomb on it. What is the bomb? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You got the flow back, brother.
I like how you landed though. You were kicking some shit just now, bro.
Almost said,
you in the studio? You recording over there in the studio?
You said you recording that?
You recording that right there in the studio? You dropping bars? Bars. I ain't mad at you. You know what I'm saying? No, pull up this joint.
Hold on. I want y'all don't miss this though. Y'all see what them brothers did? They wrote their lineage.
Yeah, they did.
Facts.
That's a fact.
That's the Chronicles, man.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
And without that, we wouldn't be able to see all the great Talmudic scholars that came from that bloodline versus the Kabbalistic scholars coming from France. We get to see it now because they did what they did. And this is why genealogy is the key. And people say, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. If you don't leave that roadmap for your people, therefore they won't know what's going on. These people they did it so methodically that it's easy once you go into their personal books. Their personal books show their history. It's beautiful.
They had the Ruha him. They had the Ruha, man. That was the spirit. Listen, man.
And most of them was poets too. They was like coded as poets. You already know what that is. You put the lineage in the poetry.
Well, like we say in Aramaic, we say we say Ash Tall et Zabata. Do you like my fluff? That's analogous to my, your lyrics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't mad at you.
But go ahead. All right.
Now check this out though. With this with this joint, he said that on the flyer I did put, from how the Indian became a Negro, and from a source standpoint,
possible. How can a leopard change his spots?
No. Okay. But guess what, though? We're going to break it down, though. I want to show a source. I want to make sure a source for people to understand where they're coming from in context, for those who just listening and tap it in, right? And this is just.org. For those who don't know about this website, they usually have some credible information from the past you can go research. It says, who is an Indian, ? Who is a Negro? Virginia Indians in the World War II draft. Let's get the first page. That's all they're going to give us for the promotion of this conversation. I mean, I'm gonna take the first page. That's all we need. Can you make it a little bit bigger? Make it a little bit bigger. Make it a little bit bigger for the people. By Paul T. Murray. It says, "Who is an Indian? Who is a Negro? How does one decide a person's race?" For a few questions few Americans. I'm sure. Thank you, brother. Few Americans have ever had the occasion to ponder deeply these questions. In most cases, the answer is self-evident. A racial label is usually assigned by the reference to obvious physical criteria such as skin color, hair texture, and facial characteristics. But in the multiracial society, there are some people who cannot be nearly placed into one of the limited number of categories. Further, in a society where one's social position depends heavily upon race, resolving questions of racial classification becomes a serious issue. People of mixed race may attempt to improve their position by changing their racial designation. Such an attempt forces government officials to confront directly the delicate issue of determination of race. Their decisions have far-reaching consequences, not only for the people directly involved, but also for the entire society. During the Second World War, a small group of Virginia Indians challenged the prevailing system of racial classification when called to register with the Selective Service System. They listed their race as Indian. Local draft boards, however, would not accept this claim. They recalled that antebellum days, some of the registrants' ancestors had married free Negroes. Shout out to Opie Mija, free Negro heads he been covering Based on this evidence, the board insisted that the proper classification for all alleged Indians was Negro.
So
the Indians were. Go ahead.
So they
I'll stop there for a second.
So they basically, the government admitted that they was black.
They're admitting that the Indian was black, and at the same time, in the military, they had to be registered as Negroes and not Indians.
Why?
They're letting you know that right here.
Because remember, beginning in 1790, the word Indian disappeared from the census, and they had to register on the census from 1790 going forward as what? Negroes.
Or free people of color.
So it was
mulatto.
Yeah, it was consistent with the census.
I want people to see that.
That's why they made that determination.
Right, but not because they were technically the Negro first. It's because they got classified with the Negro.
It was based
who
on
you're breaking down.
It was based on
Negro heads.
Yeah, based on color. This is why it's easy for that mixture.
Right. So since you black, you have to register as a Negro because we don't have a line. We don't have a line item for the Indian. Because
and they just bringing that term in to us. You understand? They're labeling something that they see as something just like Verrazano said that we look just like the Ethiopians when he mapped South Carolina. He said they were swarthy, unlike the Ethiopians. They're basically attaching a term and then running with it.
Right. How you gonna tell a thief?
It's all black.
How you gonna tell a thief he became a thief? Man, everybody in the neighborhood know that dude a thief. He was a thief, been a thief since he was stealing marbles. Been a thief his whole life. He don't need a title if he's been a thief his whole life. Hey, but you've been black your whole life, then the cat run around and say, "Oh, you're a Negro." Well, then what are you saying about the Europeans? And I'm gonna tell you why I say this, because the oldest skeleton that was found in Europe was called Grimaldi man. Grimaldi man was a black man. The Europeans they admitted that. They found skeletons of blacks in the thousands under supermarkets in France. They made comments that all of a sudden Europe and England was cosmopolitan from its earliest inception. We have to rethink our history. No, you don't. So what we simply saying to you all today is this thing with this woke movement and this critical race theory, that didn't start in the public schools or their universities. We started that. Brothers like us, we put the system on notice, and then the fragile Negro and the fragile brother and the fragile sister that heard us talking went back to the institution and said, "Hey, wait a minute." But they can't present the case like us. But they won't let us. There's no table for us to sit down with these so-called scholars because they are terrified of us. We are critical race. We the movement. We are the woke movement, not them guys. They are imposters, the ones that look like us, that's taking our cause before the establishment. The indigenous people argument is a valid argument based on the white man's his own documents, his census, the fact that they took a poll of $25 for whites to declare themselves Indians. What kind of scam you running, man? Y'all feel me?
Wait, what kind of job turkey shit is this? My shit was on mute. My bad. That was what I want. I said the first time. I said job turkey. Hey, shout out to my pops. You heard me? He say job turkey. That job turkey. Listen, hey, I'm straight up though. In a manner of like, I feel you exactly. Like that's why I showed it. The World War II. I got people that fought in World War II. You know what I'm saying? So it's like. You making me register a certain way, and I gotta fight in your war. You know what I mean? In this military shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's changing my whole identity because you won't let me register myself as what my people will say we is. You want me to be this, but however, that's just a source. That's just story. You have to debunk that right there. Give me the other one right there. Give me the next one real quick. If we moving along, we ain't got too much time. Feel me? I got another one. I'm using Harvard University, by the way, Native American program for those who might want to go to school and check out the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pull up. Now make sure you know I ain't tripping because I'm using their sources, right? But then once AIO, I'm like, no. Right here. 1920, Carter G. Woodson. You know about Carter G. Woodson, right, Lee?
Right.
You know what I mean? The father of Black history argued the following in the Journal of
You went
Is that
out?
me? Is that yeah? I thought I was about to say the same thing. He must have went out real quick. Shout out to Florida with all that rain.
I know it's killing the moderator, but not the guest. Ain't that crazy, right?
Shout out to FLA. He'll be back in a minute, but he definitely cooking.
I know, right? He been taking
I
it
can
all
read
night.
the link while he gone, so he can just get back to it. It say, in 1920, Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, argued the following in the Journal of Negro History. One of the longest unwritten chapters of history of the United States is the treating of the relations of the Negro and the Indian. Historians have endeavored to write that chapter, particularly over the last 5 decades. The efforts have paralleled the formation of an identity category informed by, reflective of, and at times defiant of this complex history. This seminar will explore intersections in the African American and Native American histories with an emphasis on places, moments, and interactions that have been pivotal to the shaping of a modern identity, often referred to as Black Indian. Popularized in the 1980s by a book of the same title, the term Black Indians is often used. Go ahead.
Keep going.
Oh, my bad. Is often used to identify and describe people of mixed race, African American and Native American ancestry. It is also applied to people with historical bicultural connections who may or may not have Black and Native blood ties. Together, students in this seminar will explore and analyze one, historical context and contingencies leading to thick interactions between people of African descent and indigenous Americans in the place now called the United States, and two, personal experimental or experiential testimony and memoir by people asserting mixed race and or bicultural Afro-Native identities. You want me to keep going? You back?
I'm back. I mean, what you think about that? I mean, shit, thank you for reading. I mean, again, thank you on that side. You heard me? Alley-oop. Thank you for dunking that. Anybody? What you think about this? This is Harvard University. So the Negro, as I saw the registry, they know that the Indian and the Negro mix with each other. That's what I'm pointing out. Harvard's pointing that out.
Hey, see, don't y'all remember when Donald Trump told the senator, I think she's a senator or a congressman, Warren, he said, "You don't look like any Indian that I've ever known." He was giving the game away, right? Then the whites turned back around and called him a moron. Hey, people don't know.
What a moron.
Moron is code word for what? Negro.
That's another part.
Don't call me a moron, huh?
I'm a maroon.
Yeah, he fighting to get his casino up, and y'all telling him about people that don't look like Indians to real Indians. Cause that's what he said. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to real Indians.
And then she had to apologize for declaring herself to be an Indian because the gig was up. But no. And you can see that the history is so bad in the United States that the whites on the plantations, on the Indian reservations, they actually think they're Indians. They've been there a couple generations, and they've been brainwashed to believe that they are the indigenous people.
We've been marooned. But they told us we were going to be marooned. This is the crazy part. Like, we was told we was going to be marooned. And we've been marooned. That's why it is identified in international, national, indigenous history of us being put in this position because of the racial situation that took place in America. But still, the lineages of the African is being labeled there goes back to you with the Negro question. And I got something from your book because we brought it up earlier. You know what I'm saying? From your book. I want to make sure I get, something guaranteed they can, if they want to dig into it, they need to. If you don't know yet, because there's many people talking about it, might be putting other information out they got from this, like how we do. But I just bring it back to Leak. I want Lee to know I'm in this face with it. You know what I mean? That's my homie. I appreciate you for doing this. I always come back and be like, oh, this is what I found. Check this out. So now, on page 113 of your book, Negro Questions, Part 6, the 13 Black Colonies, Cromwell Edict of 1653.
Right.
All right. All right. It says those who fail to translate themselves in Connaught or Clare, Ireland, within 6 months shall be guilty of high treason, and you will be sent into America or some other part beyond the sea. When the whites invaded Britain, and it says see page 3, in 449 AD, they pushed the blacks west into Britain, Scotland, and Ireland. Cromwell did the same thing. Connaught and Clare is Ireland, which is west. These same black Irish were shipped into Jamaica, Barbados, West Indies, and the American colonies. If you want a clearer understanding of the deportation of the black Irish, you need to purchase the Negro Questions Part 4. Wink, wink. Missing link. You know what I'm saying? You're wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? And then it says, this is, I had to give you a promotion. That's right. A good move. That was a good plug. But then it says, this book shows the two groups going into the captivity. One group coming out of Europe, and in page 114, second group coming out of West Africa. Both groups of blacks are on the same boat. The old timers used to say that a hard head will make a soft behind. My dad said that shit to me before we put my ass sometimes. And he says, and I guess that it was what happened to King Charles I. Now that we have seen this great tragedy, let us now focus our attention on King Charles II. Now, look, this is where you get good. I need to get this all in. I got to get this all in. This is good. He says, have you ever heard that saying, like father, like son? Well, that's exactly what occurred here. Lightning struck twice, and it got the same results. This time, it was learned that King Charles II was attempting to convert to Catholicism by making a secret deal with the French. King Charles was forced to abdicate this throne in favor of his nephew, James II of England. And now I'm trying to get to the good part, the meat coming up now. Check this out. It says, during the reign of the Black German King George I, we talked about George III and all that good stuff earlier. So that's why all this connected, right? And it says, in 1714 to 1727, the Jacobites rebelled in England. This was nicknamed the 15 because it took place in 715. The Jacobites, Covenanters, black Jews, were trying to wrest the crown from black German kings, Hanover, and place the black Stuart kings back to the throne of England. But this was not to be. The Jacobites were imprisoned. It said executed or sent into the colonies on convict ships. I want to remind you that the free black Scots that founded the Americas came during the reign of King James I of England, Charles I of England, Charles II of England, James II of England. It says the free black Scots came into Americas in waves. That's why I wanted to get to y'all. And it says Virginia, 1607, Georgia, 1732, Hampshire, 1629, Maryland, 1632, Connecticut, 1662, Delaware, 1701, Maine, 1622, New England, 1620, Plymouth, 1629, New Jersey, 1664, Carolina, 1663. Pennsylvania, 1681. Rhode Island, 1663. The Second Jacobite Rebellion took place in the year of 1745, called the 45, under the King George II, who was the very evil king. King George, Black German King of England. I'm gonna stop there because you know I'm gonna go. You know where I'm about to go with that, right?
I'm sitting here listening to you read the book that I wrote. That book.
That's your book.
I know. I'm sitting there saying, I said, man, I wrote
Stop
all
it.
That's your book.
I'm serious.
I'm spitting your bars. You heard? I'm spitting your bars.
I haven't read the book in years. I'm sitting there like, wow, that's interesting.
Nigga, that shit good, ain't it? Yeah, that shit good. That shit good. Listen, hey, listen here.
Yeah.
Just to finish it off, that's how good it is. It was the first king of England to legalize the enslavement of men. When the state of Georgia was given its first charter, slavery was illegal, but in 1751, King George II legalized slavery. I want you to get this. There was no such thing as slavery in the British colonies because it was illegal. A greater witness than this, come and see. And that's on you now. I'm going to leave it on you before we get out of here.
With the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta said that the English did not recognize the institution of the peculiar, call it the peculiar institution of slavery. And
that part.
Listen, we are the work that all of us, everybody on this panel was doing. And by the way, the reader is pretty good. You got skills as a reader, man. I think the next video I do, I'm gonna have to use you. You could do the voiceover for the video, and I hit you with a couple of dollars. But
Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, but anyway, the work that everybody's doing on the panel. You know, I had an old timer telling me this recently. He's a Moor. He said, I said, man, you're pretty sharp. You know what he said? He said, man, I'm just a spoke on the wheel. He said, we are all spokes on this. And
facts.
Yeah, man. And so, like the brother mentioned to me, he said the thing that he liked about me was that I was diverse. I wasn't just teaching the Hebrews. I was reaching out to all these other entities through my writings. And so you guys have to do the same thing, because if you're going to reach our people, you have to be diverse. And I think everybody's doing a good job. We just got to keep up the good work. We got to keep pushing that truth out there. That truth is like a seed. At some point, it's going to germinate and it's going to grow some fruit. So just keep.
Hey, you know, I'm not even here to argue. Some people are caught up in the time frame. You know, Back to the Future. You know what I mean? They want to go back to the future and live in that time frame and stay in that traumatic era. And some people are holding on to the slavery narrative. But then you got terms in 1790 like free people of color. That means they ain't slaves. You know, like there's a lot of contradictions that we've been told, but in common sense, you're like, how would white people in 1790 say that you free people of color, but you're all slaves until 1865? Though?
Well,
that don't make no sense.
Half the country, the southern states were being enslaved by the black French, the black slave masters.
That's the truth.
And I'll take this up with any of their scholars, but again, they won't call me.
That's the Catholic, the French.
But the southern states were enslaved, but the northern states where the free Roman citizens were. Now I want y'all to hear what I just said.
You said Roman. You said Roman.
The 13 black colonies were what? They were descended. They were the free Roman citizens. Why? Because the black Brits called themselves Roman citizens. People have asked the question, but where did the Romans go? They right here in the 13 colonies. Now I'm going to clarify that. The Maccabees in 164, 162 BC entered into an agreement, a covenant with Rome that Judea or Judah would become a Roman province, and that we had entered into a covenant with the Romans, and they gave us Roman citizenship. So the Hebrew Israelites, the Judeans, not only are we Hebrews, we also have Roman citizenship. So when you go back and read the ancient writings of the Black Brits, they, in their writings, Professor Roy Dawkins states that these were Roman citizens. If you go back and look at the ancient maps of Britain. Upper Britain is called Britannia Roman, and Lower Britain is called Welsh Roman. And so our fathers, this is the reason why when you come to the 13 colonies, our fathers wrote the laws and the policies for the colonies. We brought Roman citizenship with us, even though we were Hebrew Israelites. I know this is hard to understand.
It is for some folks. Listen, you might create a whole room.
I'm telling you what it is. Listen, man, this is what it is.
Arguing about this part right here.
Listen, man, this is what it is, man. We not only were we listen, man, who was in Judea when Jesus or Yeshua walked the earth? The Romans.
Maranatha.
We had dual citizenship. Go back and look up.
Paul tells you that himself. He told you he was of the tribe of Benjamin, but he was a Roman by citizenship.
That's what he's preaching right now. He said what? He said he was what? He was a Roman citizen, and he was what? He was born free. Didn't he say that?
Yep, of the tribe of Benjamin.
And so these Hebrew Israelites, the Maccabees, entered into an agreement with Rome. They became Roman citizens in 162 BC. That was the covenant. And so these white folks in America, they know that this so-called Negro in America, not only is he Israel, he is a descendant. He is the offspring of Rome. Not that Rome, not that Vatican, the homosexual. I can't even say that. Scratch that from the record.
Too late. Go ahead, though.
That's all I got. Let me stop talking.
No, it's all good though.
Let me stop talking.
I want to just give a shout out to everybody that pulled up on us tonight. Thank y'all for all pulling up. You know what I mean? It's my Earth Strong weekend. We Aries. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's our time of the year. We gotta get all our people that we know going. I want to come with it because people be saying a lot of things, and I ain't really into disrespecting people, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'd rather be very I should say stick to the script. And you got a script, you know what I mean? And I follow your script, so maybe reach out to you. That's what make the party of us reach out to you. Everybody you see on this panel knows about your books and different things. We talk about it, and we actually use your sources when we go look up things, even try to find something where you can, Lee, hold up, man. We'll leave what you're saying right now. But at the same time, though, overall, on the premise of the dark-skinned European, I think there's nobody laying it out the way you've laid it out in the book format.
What we said at the very beginning is by the what? The Ruha, the spirit.
Ain't nobody laid it out.
Everybody on this platform right now, everything that you're doing is by the spirit of Al-Him, the spirit of God. If it wasn't for you'd be doing something else, you'd be robbing banks. You'd be selling keys. You'd be committing murders. But because of that Ruha, that spirit, this is what you're doing with your life.
You know what?
Yeah.
I gotta ask you. This is my surprise question for you tonight. Dealing with the whole, you're familiar with obviously Enoch, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to Enoch and his prophecy about the Son of Man in the Masonic era and all this stuff, dealing with Yahshua HaMashiach, you know what I'm saying? How do you relate to that? And if you understand, Enoch 1, Enoch 2, you know what I mean?
I never read the apocryphy concerning the Messiah Jesus or the Messiah Yeshua, but the prophecies concerning the prophecies concerning the second coming concerning the coming of the Messiah or the Mashiach starts in the book of Genesis in the 3rd chapter. When Yeshua tells Adam that the seed of the woman is going to bruise the head of the serpent. Ain't no woman ever had a seed. Then that takes you down to the 8th or the 9th chapter of Isaiah when it says, to us a child is born. A virgin said, behold, a virgin shall be with child. And she's going to name him Emmanuel, which means God with us or God with man. So it was known back in the garden after Adam and Eve fell that a woman would carry a seed. No woman carries a seed. Only a man has a seed.
That part. I get that what you're saying.
So
you know,
in terms of
that cause debates. You know, the women don't like this type of shit. Now I'm gonna tell you,
hey man, it's
Lee, I gotta keep it. Listen, man, life is life, but documents of things because the woman has been excluded from a situation, and obviously there's proof that she's been in highly positions of like Esther. You know what I mean? Because shit, without Esther, a whole goddamn people be massacred. You heard me? I mean, it's you gotta get some credit here where they deserve, and these people like that. You know,
say something about the teaching in these churches and in the camps. What is a she?
That might be a trick question. I don't know where you're going.
No, it ain't no trick question. What is a she?
You talking about female, feminine?
Yeah. So what is it? It's a woman, right, or a girl?
A woman, a woman, a girl. These variations, right?
Well, guess what she means in Aramaic?
XX.
It's just it's in Aramaic. It's sh. She. It's the shin. It looked like the W to you.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about now. I got some following.
Guess what it represents? It means lamb. So the Europeans call their women she, because well no the Arab we called the women a she because she was supposed to be what? Lamb like. What is a lamb like? It's peaceful. It's gentle. That's why they were called she's, brother.
That's crazy. Like she. Yeah. I know. I ain't gonna lie. You put me on to something. I ain't never even thought about it. You know, I ain't gonna lie.
They named her after they gave her the she name after the nature, after the lamb. But what we seen in this generation is that these women in America don't act nothing like a she.
Would that correlate to Shekinah? Like Shekinah?
Spell it.
Shekinah.
Spell it.
Damn it, man! You messing with me. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it.
Yeah.
Hold on, Shekinah. Hold on. Let me get the Shekinah. Because Shekinah. Because I heard some. Some folks I know Shekinah. Hold on, Shekinah. I'm gonna spell this bit. Shekinah.
With a K.
Nah. It's what. No. Female. I'm gonna see if I can get some keywords to pull it up. It's called. See, I might be pronouncing it wrong. Y'all gotta. Oh, wait. Here we go. I got it right. Here we go. Now, I might be still wrong, but before we slide tonight, it's SHEKINAH. That's why I said.
Not really the word. Now the word is like.
How you pronounce that?
That's like Shekinah.
Oh, I wasn't too far off though. I landed pretty close.
Yeah, but Shekinah's dealing with the tabernacle.
You
know.
Well, I'm just saying because they talk about it being a female goddess in position of being a feminine term. You know what I'm saying in the Hebrew Aramaic text.
But in Aramaic and Hebrew, Elohim, the Elohim, which is God, is always referred to as a he, masculine.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what?
He is never referenced in the Hebrew culture or religion as a she, and they know that.
Never. Wait. I gotta do something. I mean, since you did, give me time. I'm gonna go. Since you brought that up, I'm gonna show you something. I'm only gonna show you what I've seen. And then you're going to tell me what you think about it because I want to hear your perspective. Because, see, this is how we build. We're going to learn from this conversation real quick. Hold on. Check this out. Hey, God, pull that up. Now, what I got with this word that I told you, and I spelt it, it's SHEKHINAH. And it's spelled also SHECHINAH, and it says in Hebrew, Tiberian, and it's SKINA. Just to let you know, it says an English translation of the Hebrew word meaning dwelling or settling.
Same thing. Tabernacle and dwelling is the same thing. Go ahead.
Okay, right. It says pull up the joint. I want people to see it. I want people to think I'm making this up. I don't want nobody think I'm saying this. Because people be, Mac, now we live on this podcast, we having a conversation. I think Because you know you doing the Aramaic thing. I want people to see what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? What I'm reading from. All right, so boom. We can get out here after this. So this is just a random thought.
I said tabernacle, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I'm just saying.
I know, buddy. Yeah.
All right. All right. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you did. Yes, sir. Yes, you did. Now, when the crazy part about it is though, and like you said, the tabernacle and the presence of God, you know, and all these different things, is that the etymology and the Kabbalistically is all on this Wikipedia thing. And people are like, oh, Mac, I use Wikipedia, right? I only show that real quick so people can see the word Shekinah, right? But then a lot of the sources on my phone that I pulled up, that I just sent to him, just like I sent that one. My Jewish Learning, for instance, is saying Shekinah is associated with the Malshut, the kingship, kingship, the lowest of the Sephirat, and the intermediary between the upper emanations and the material world. That's one. I'm reading from the thing. Another one said that it's the Goddess presence. The wisdom is the Goddess presence that's bestowed upon the tabernacle. So that's why it's interesting that this word Shekinah, I've heard people debate about it on Clubhouse.
Ask you a
Maybe
question.
another time. Another time. I ain't gonna go. Hit my knee.
Let me ask you, you remember when the apostles asked Yeshua to teach them how to pray?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So he did. They said, "Hey, teach us how to pray like John taught his disciples how to pray." What did Yeshua say? What was the prayer? Our what?
Father, who art in heaven.
Father. Our what? Our Abba. Our Father which art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Right. So he told you what the Father was. He's a he.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when he talked to Pontius Pilate, what did he tell Pilate? He said, "I came to bear witness to the truth."
You know, we're gonna go into it another time, Lee.
Who you gonna believe?
We're gonna do it right now. I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was interesting. But
hey,
I would just shout out to my ladies out there that's tapping into this information. I know, hey, we're gonna have it. Go back into this.
Man, it ain't personal. It is what
ain't
it
nothing
is.
personal about none of this.
Yeah,
again, I thank you, like everybody else. Thank you too.
Somebody, hey man, we used to have a saying when I was growing up. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for the okie doke. You know what an okie doke is? That's that popcorn they sell in the store. Okie doke popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go, man.
All right, get out of here, man. I appreciate you, Lee.
It was good meeting you, brothers, man. Real talk.
Yeah, I need to. Tecumseh, what's up before we get out of here?
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Lee. Go get them books, and I'm waiting for the next one.
Yeah, man. Good. Hey, man, it was nice talking to you, brother. Is it ether?
It's ether. It's ether.
Oh, like gasoline?
There you go.
Yeah, gas.
He said, "There you go." All right, bro. I like your style, man.
Tecumseh, what up?
Yeah, it's been an honor, man. It's been a good build as always. Like you said, go cop them books. I definitely been reading your books for years, so it's definitely an honor to, build with you, man.
I appreciate it, and you likewise. I learned some things today because, you can. But the book say iron sharpen iron, and you teach a wise man, he be yet wiser. And I respect that. Hey, going out of here.
Appreciate that too.
I got a puppy.
Appreciate that, Lee.
Come here. Come say hi to the crew. Come here. Come and say
hi to the crew.
Come and say hi to the crew. Get up here. She a cane Corso, man. What it say?
Oh yeah. You told me about the cane Corso. Let me see it real quick.
Right here. Y'all see her?
No, hold on.
Oh yeah.
Say hi to the. Come here. Say hi to the crew. Come back. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm making joke, you nigga. Hey, y'all see her?
Yeah.
She 1 year old. She thinks she ready,
You think she ready? Yeah, she gonna be pretty though. She big though. Stop playing.
She been holding down the backyard since she was about 7 months old by herself. So hell.
No, it's beautiful, man. The Corso.
That's the original bull, man. That's the original master.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of Corso.
Master, yeah. All right, man. I'm out.
I ain't mad at you. I know you told me that about it back in the day. Shout out to her. Well, everybody got to see it. Yo, peace. Hey.
Peace.
Honor. I think you went out again.
It looked like he froze.
FLA, he in the storm. Yo, Tecumseh.
Yo, can you hear me?
On James 1, though, I want to find that line coming in that everyone seems to see as fraudulent. Because it's only like 2 generations.
You mean stepping in from like when you saying project? I think it got something to do with the Saxe-Gotha, because his mother was of the Saxe-Gotha line.
Hey, my bad, y'all.
We talking James 1 Stewart, right?
Well, well, see, I don't. It is a few ways I could see that taken about, because one, if we're going according to like the Hebraic culture, Edward wouldn't have a lineage because that's based off Elizabeth, like the lines coming through the daughter on that side. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Back live.
Oh, you back? You back?
My bad, y'all. I mean, I appreciate y'all. You know, a good conversation tonight. Y'all enjoyed the conversation?
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
He's out again. Yeah, he got difficulties again. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Ra77 Elevation, Edward Charles, Truth Over Fiction, Wee Boogie, Miss Max Saponi, Spirit Black, the youngin.
Yeah, my bad, man. We're going to get out of here, y'all.
Shout out to the whole chat, Miss Nunes, APTV, my boy. Everybody that came through.
Yeah, pull up on us next week, man. We in the storm. We've been flooded down here. We in the glades. You know what I mean? On some maroon shit for real. You know what I'm saying? But we down here. We surviving. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody that pulled up on us tonight. Shout out to Lee Cummings, Tecumseh Dialogue. Shout out to Opie Meat Eye, obviously. My man Nine Ether. You know what I mean? Shout out to Barrett P. Shout out my man Blaze. Shout out to God of Green. And because it's crazy, we're going to get out of here. Check us on Clubhouse. You already know where the tap is at, you know, on the local level of things. We call it local. Like pull up on the virtual streets here. You know what I'm saying? But either way, thank y'all. Pull up on us to next week Sunday. Oh, next week Sunday, ladies panel. I got ladies pulling up. So you know what it is. You gotta pull up. You heard me? Pull up on us next week. Like I said, ooh, try to tell you these ladies, all right, don't sleep now. All right now, Shakina. Got presence. Pull up on the show. We ain't got no time for questions tonight, but again, thank you for everybody pulling up on us live. And again, pull up, share this, subscribe. You know, check our website out. You know what I mean, and everything we got going on. TheAtomicParty.com, Music Media Lounge. We in the building. I know the studio crazy because again, the shit been flooding. You know what I'm saying? But we here though. We made it, nigga. We made it. Or you just say Blaze, but Blaze ain't here. God,
take us out.
Peace.